Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords and lances.
Hello, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teag. Welcome to Saving Star Trek after what was just absolutely one of the most wild and amazing streams we ever had. It's funny how I'm not going to say I miss New Trek, but the kind of streams we have when we are just like outraged, and we had like the greatest mix of people on here with some of the people from Landman and Mark D with the C. That was, I want to thank everyone on this panel, everyone who was part of that show, and all of you in the community. You know what? You guys were super amazing. And Resolute Germ on the board early with a 99-cent super check. Thank you, sir. You're the man. And thank you for hosting the watch party for this show, where we may have shared copyrighted material. Hey, and Gavin's here, and Radioactive is here, and we've got the panel, RRTNZ. Hello, Welshie. It's good to see you. It's good to see everyone, Gavin and Buddy. Guys, thanks so much. You know what? Like, I don't know what's going to go on as far as Star Trek tonight, because we basically set, like, we opened up a singularity in the Star Trek conversation on Thursday, and I gotta first thank the members of my panel who were going to do the show one way or the other, because they had feelings and they had passion, and this is the place for it. So I was like, I'll go on remote for a little while. I'll watch the show on my phone the way it was meant to be seen, and we'll do our show the same way. Like, you know, like we won't let this get in the way. And we had what I would say the longest show since 2024, the wildest show probably in the history of this channel. With just, it was like, all I could think of is the only thing that equated to that was when Rise of Skywalker came out, and all the fandom menace from that point were on one big fucking stream. It was like Shad, EFAP, the Drinker, every single person. And they were just like it was all finally like the justification and the culmination of all the failure, and to be able to point at it and say, like, look, we were correct, and all of you made that happen, and all of you were here with us for that. So maybe it's a little bit quiet tonight as we return to the amazing story of Enterprise, where we're going to pick up what I call the Forge Trilogy, for lack of a better term. We're going to find the USB stick of Serac, and it's going to be a great time. But you know what? Grab a beverage, sit back, and before we really get into this week's Enterprise story, I want to thank my friends on the panel and ask anybody, what's your reaction and what's your feeling a couple of days after what happened with Starfleet Academy? I understand there's another episode that dropped that we We haven't watched it. It's sir. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
I did watch some reviews. I didn't see it, but I heard some of our friends across the pond refer to the woman going after the main character as a quote unquote strumpet, a harlot, in all kinds of other British words. I had to grab my dictionary to make sure that I was interpreting it correctly. But I got to give it to you guys. We just say whore.
It's a fucking whore.
You guys are very creative.
Well, they get to say the C word.
Yeah.
You know what? We're gonna get into Welshie's comment in a moment, but since we have some sound, we have sound for both of this one. Here we go.
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat. Admiral Teag, please stop using copyrighted material.
Sir, we have to send for Albert Einstein.
Sir, he's very busy.
Sir.
Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Okay, our RTNZ, our friend says, stop sharing copyrighted controversial mechanical arms. The Forge Trilogy is a great one, in my opinion. The right way to expand the lore around Vulcans, 9 out of 10. Yeah, you know what? I have a funny feeling that this panel is not going to be that opposed to this one. This was a relatively simple, straightforward Star Trek story. It's like this episode 1. We all just watched it. We'll give you our thoughts on it. I don't think Welshie's out of line with how we feel. And by the way, RRTNZ, I want to thank you so much for being there with us at the member stream. We had a lot of fun with you and our friend Inside Man. Inside Man's a blast. When we do Friday shows, he's just going to be on. Inside Man from England. He was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was great. I got to say, RTNZ always has... I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
RRTNZ always has really good takes on track, and the cool thing is, I almost always agree with him. But he brings up things I hadn't thought of before, or things I hadn't really put much thought into. But it's always a really good point. So thank you, buddy. Keep them coming.
He's really passionate. He's really literate. He knows what he's talking about, and. I want to say hi to the Trek reviewer. I have to get my hails in line here. Guys, when you show up, I'll try to remember to hail you, but I have to let people finish their points now. It's because I accidentally reflexively did that. I'm sorry, Sean. So also
that's okay.
From Radioactive Actual. So I'm halfway through Hogwarts episode 2. Beta test. Something tells me every male character on that show will pass it. Very, very, very beta indeed. And for our British friends, it's beta. Right? Bisha? Beta?
Yes.
Yeah, Beta. The sham of Mikey Spock. Puffhouse continues. Mikey Spockle Pufflehouse. Michael Spockle Puffhouse. Mikey Spockle Puffhouse continues.
Wow. Say that. Yeah, that's like you.
I managed to say
Anchorman tongue twister. Like you have to say that 10 times right before we go live instead of saying unique New York. You know, all those times. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And with this New York City accent, let me tell you, a lot of people said, for the first show with extensive camera on, that the face didn't really match the voice. I don't know. This is the only face I've ever associated with this particular voice. But, hi, everybody. It's your buddy Admiral Teag. And we had a lot of cameras on Thursday. It was a lot of fun, and it was a fun, higher-level interaction. I encourage it with my panel. That's like JT. He had looked badass with that Detroit Tiger hat. I was like, don't fuck with this man. He might have a knife. It's like you had a screen full of dangerous-looking people. A man with a Detroit hat. Like that just default levels up your danger. A guy from the West Coast, who knows what he's going to do in the form of Germ. You got this well-armed Texan in the form of Sean. And then, Admiral Teag, the violent man who rejects the word Latino for Hispanic, because I just think Latino's not, it's too pussy, man. I'm Hispanic. I'm changing my pronouns. Don't call me Latino. Anyway, it's great to see everybody. And
everybody here has their feet planted on the floor. In our captain's chairs. Okay. I'm sorry that stuck in my head. I know we said we weren't going to talk about that show on this show, because this show is real Star Trek, but I'm just broken
I guess
mentally
we
by
should get it
that.
out of our system. I brought it up by thanking the audience, so it's in the air. And again, I want to thank everybody. You guys were super generous. Just relax, enjoy this show. We're going to give you the best entertainment we can. It'll be a lot more exciting in week 2 and 3 when the details start to layer on and we get some Vulcan lore revisions. But we have what I would say is a well-filmed, great-looking episode of Star Trek. And also, just maybe we got just a few people here now. More people will stumble in, or not. I honestly think that there was a singularity set off in the Star Trek demand, and it's going to take a couple of days for people to stumble back out of it. I don't know how much appetite there is for Star Trek right now, but hey, we got part 1 of a 3-parter. That's great. So, like a more intimate and enjoyable stream. That was getting crazy. I couldn't believe that Price of Reason had 90 at their watch party.
Oh, really? That's phenomenal.
They did it the way we used to do it without providing video. We may at some point try that again.
So I was going to ask you guys something. So in the couple days since Academy debuted and its obvious failure, have you noticed how many weirdo wokies are just crying online about it? Gaslighting.
Yes.
I want to apologize to Trek Galaxy. This is the deal. Trek Galaxy seemed like they were attacking us in bad faith. We get attacked in bad faith a lot. And that comment that we were, and I'm going to be honest. I am giving this person a moment of my time when they attacked me, and it was not appropriate to call me a liar in my own chat. Okay, there's other ways to challenge people and evoke a conversation. Usually, I engage with every comment, even when the AI attack bots happened. Engaging with them turned out to be one of the smartest things we did. So I feel a little bad that I was dismissive of Trek Galaxy. However, to accuse me that far into a show of not having watched that which I have reviewed and detailed in great detail, more detail than they were able to get across, because we had to extrapolate their meanings and give you what could be happening to be thorough. It took that long because we had to cover what we had to cover. So that was very, very, very aggressive, rude, and inappropriate, and I don't condone that. But I wish that I had been a little less harsh and engaging, and I did drop their link in chat. Yes, sir.
We do have gifted memberships.
Oh my gosh! You know what? The computer is just a little behind. Let's see if it detected anything.
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat.
We have very generous gift of 5 Admiral Teague super chats from my good friend, Mr. House Party 6, who looks like Evil Cliffy. And let's see who got those Admiral Teague memberships. I'm going to jump into the stream right now over on the YouTube side.
We have Fletcher Williams.
Hey, Fletcher, it's good to see you, buddy.
Honesty.
Great name. We appreciate that. Raul Julia. 9557. Hello, Raul Julia. I loved his acting. He was a great Gomez Adams. John Samwise's father was better because he was just had more time in the role, but 1 or 2 more movies, it would be a real argument. Philip O'Reilly. Phil, welcome aboard. Congratulations on the membership. And M5 Tie-In received the gift membership from Mr. House Party 6, making our community stronger. Sir, thank you very much for making 5 people part of our community. You really have made a difference in this channel and helped keep us on the rails and on track. Thank you. And also Welshie with a $5 New Zealand super chat says, someone told me if an old, discarded, burnt out cigarette butt was suddenly transformed into human form, it would be Tig Notaro and just as funny. Fuck cancer, we're glad she's okay. Well, now that that's out of the way, yeah. I mean, surviving whatever hit her, it does make it look like. I keep saying that there's some kind of Keith Richards thing going on with her, where she looks like she's just going to start singing "Take It So Hard" and bust out like another cigarette. Does anyone else feel this way, or am I alone in this belief?
I just don't see anything special with her on the show. If they focus on her like she's some big to-do talent, and I've yet to see the talent shine through. Maybe that's
what talking about.
Fault.
There's a woman who was on Discovery for. I'm sorry. Did we see her on Strange New Worlds first? She is
this-
I guess is she a lesbian comedian? Is that the way to describe Tig Notaro? She's
Oh,
I
is she
call
the
it
skinny one? The
whipping
woman,
engineer?
yeah.
with
Oh,
the boy's
fuck her,
haircut. Yeah, with the boy
Yeah,
haircut.
Yeah,
and
snarky. She's got
got
this snarky fucking attitude all the time.
everyone's got a snarky attitude in this goddamn show, except people in control, in command, if they're a man. But she's the one who looks like she smoked a lot of cigarettes. Now, I apologize if she didn't, but she did have cancer, and we're glad she's okay. We just don't enjoy her work. Like, we don't hate anybody here. We hate.
She looks
this
like
bad
she would
Star
be
Trek.
Megan Rapinoe's aunt.
No, she was on she was on James Kimmel pre-taped 3 days ago, and she told Tom Cruise in person that they look alike. And I would agree. There is a resemblance.
She looks
I'm
like
gonna say right
she
there
looks
that
like
I
a
give her-
used catcher's mitt.
Yeah, she looks like Keith Richards, but you know what? If she had the courage to say that to Tom Cruise and was that self-effacing, maybe she herself is okay. I haven't heard her say anything
That's
offensive.
why I think it might be the show. I think it just
Getting
might be
hired
the
by
show.
these people is not a crime. That's why I always lead with I'm glad she's okay and fuck cancer before I say anything about how she looks, because the poor woman's been through hell. But you know what? The worst for her dignity is to have to be on this show. I see Krimlon out
Well,
there. Hello, Krimlon.
I just will say I'll let you know that happened, but I would never endorse anybody go watch the James Kimmel pre-recorded show.
There was a time,
value
like
everybody's
not too
time
long
more
ago,
than that.
where I think people are going to look back in television history and say that when the Daily Show with Jon Stewart stopped being that was the end of that type of entertainment, which is weird because that show was on at like 8:00 at night, something. Well, I guess that was the rerun of the night before, right? The new one was on at 10, but that show actually, whether you like their opinion or not, can sometimes make you laugh. We've fallen a long way since then. But I want to thank everybody for their generosity. And with no further ado, I guess we should reset. Like, the Zindi crisis is over. We've time traveled back to World War II and set things straight with the weird man in the high castle side quest. We finally celebrated that we were home, accomplished something, and beat the Zindi. We found out there's a few problems on Earth with these rapscallions called Terra Prime. And there's also like a Vulcan Prime that we didn't know about. And the reason why one of the hashtags in tonight's show is Vaughn Armstrong, because rip Vaughn Armstrong, we're going to lose a familiar and powerful character, if not the actor, because something tells me he'll be back as an alien. But
he's only got 12 other roles he can play now. So
it's insane how versatile he's been. But we're going to kill off Admiral Forrest, and so Vol is going to do a face turn in this one, although he has been showing that he has more tolerance for humans than any other Vulcan. And we're going to get some stuff that's shocking in context of what we know. And I'm going to say this, Gary, whatever his name is, the guy who plays Saval, he is a really good actor. And in this episode is possibly...
he's passed on, I think.
Yes, we lost him last year, R.I.P. And his performance in this is so fantastic that I would say special attention needs to be paid. And I would say only the Horta from TOS was a more powerful mind meld sequence than this actor managed to summon. He had his Star Trek moment, and it is in the annals of mind melds. You have to put this in as like the top 5 or 6. What was more? Maybe Valeris was more intense. But this was a one man, thing. The other guy's out cold. And like when Saval performs his mind meld, the actor is, fully featured. Everything's on him. And in his moment, this character's moment, he's lost a friend too. He held Forrest in high regard himself, and he does a few unethical things, and he drops a mask or two and shows himself fully vulnerable. And of all the Vulcans we know, he shows himself to be the most human, absolutely. And this mind meld scene I thought was absolutely fantastic. So before we kick off the synopsis, anyone want to just talk about this? This series of moments that covers about 6 minutes in the middle of the episode here, where we find out Saval is actually he's a lot more one of us than we thought. He's pretty cool, actually.
I'd say give this one a germ.
Well, it's a steady face turn for him, but it's not unexpected. And since we know in advance that pretty much all Vulcans are capable of mind melds, that part isn't really a shock.
Yeah, I think the shock was that he admitted it. That I think was for me, that's what got me the most. It wasn't so much his ability, but that he's like, yeah, I can do it.
Hey, Mr. House Party 6 with a $10 very generous Greenlandian dollar super chat. Full spread pronoun torpedoes. That's right. I am no longer Latino. I am now Hispanic. It sounds, doesn't it just sound better? It's more masculine. I like it.
Yeah.
I won't scoff at Hispanic. I'm not going to start yelling and screaming. Latinx, those are fighting words, but Latino, whatever. If you want to use it, use it. But I like Hispanic. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. House Party 6. This is a very generous super chat. And you know what, guys? You are the very best. Thank you so much. Let's get on to the plot synopsis. Again, this portion of your program brought to you by Mr. House Party 6, RRTNZ, and welcome to the family to all the newbies and to Radioactive. Again, RRTNZ have sponsored this part of our program along with Resolute Germ, who got it all going with that 99-cent super chat. Thank you so much. All right, this is the part of the show that a lot of people find very controversial.
Admiral Teag, please stop using copyrighted material.
What can I tell you? It's going to happen anyway. All right. So when last we left, we had finished our last little mission there. And it had been, in my opinion, a fun little side quest there for our last Enterprise adventure. And with this, we're going to have Paul go home. And I would say this is the most time we're ever going to spend on Vulcan ever, and probably as much time as we've ever spent on Vulcan combined in these 3 episodes. I didn't mind, and the thing is, they set themselves up very well for this one because Vulcan has always been portrayed as a place that is how would I put it? It's very easy to go to a place that could be Vulcan, any part of Vulcan.
Admiral,
it
sir,
needs to be kind of desolate. Yes, sir.
I think I could describe this for you. If you're going to Vulcan, Cisco,
is this out San Fran?
To wear an idic in your hair. I had to change that, so it was not going to get you copyright struck.
You can sing the songs now. I don't care anymore. Hello, Lombardi.
I got that stupid song stuck in my head, and when they were landing on
the
Vulcan
song
there,
is good.
I was
the song is actually good.
But they went to Vulcan Cisco. That's kind of where they went, right?
You know what? Vulcan Cisco was something that Starfleet covered up because it was like this Vulcan's not from the northern continent. Why does he? Tuvok would never have sex with a woman. What happened here? How do we get a black Vulcan? And it was just like, his father thinks he's God. He's like, oh, a human, huh? That's how they figured that. Vulcan Cisco's been done. Mr. House Party 6, the
has
back
an
left
opinion
to
about
your house. Guys, the cool thing about this is Vulcan is easy to render and make us feel like we're there. We really only have to go to like a construction site where they haven't started to bring on any man-made material yet. Like after you break foundation,
Hey, Wes Cagle's here.
Wes Cagle, thank you.
Great to see you come out tonight.
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat.
I think this earns this montage.
We have to send for Albert Einstein.
Sir, he's very busy. Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Thank you very much, Wes Cagle, for your kind support of the show and for the Rainbow Pride flag. That's what it's all about here on Saving Star Trek. You know what? When it comes to serious Star Trek shows using the Pride logos and stuff, we don't own anything, but let's remember who did it first with some of the most outrageous branding and daring branding to ever be used in Star Trek. Some of these media things that we used, the Section 31 tile is still good. It's still one of the most subversively fucked up things I think we've ever done. This was to advertise our Section 31 review. We went full on. Like I spent like 2 hours thinking of it.
Wait, what's this we thing? You made that.
Yeah, you did.
You know what? I did communicate with you guys while I made it. I consider.
Yeah, I know.
Unless
we
anyone
endorsed
thinks
it.
a symbol of hate. Unless anyone considers it a symbol of hate they want to dissociate with. But
We
if you look,
endorsed it.
his inclusion bar is up to full, right? Like inclusion drive on full. And he's getting advice from Mikey Spock on how to cry. And we've got Rachel Garrett, whose wig showed up in Section 31. And then right on top there, sort of as tiny as possible, is, Space Hitler, because this Section 31 barely has her in it. She's voicing over a double a lot. And then we have this Kentucky Fried Vulcan who's like, first he's Irish. And Admiral Teag is part Irish American. Teag's an Irish name. I have always found it offensive to use to make like the oppressed people Irish, except for the Brunelli, who are hilarious, and they weren't oppressed; they were simply happy. That one didn't bother me.
This guy is Irish as McDonald's, though. I mean, it was
fake as could be.
Yeah.
This guy, seated atop his ivory flagpole, making fun of Irish people. With this was one of the worst Star Trek experiences we ever had, and we were able to have some fun with it. But you know what? Since other Star Trek shows that claim to be serious are now using the pride and inclusion branding, I guess it's not ironic. I think everybody realizes when Saving Star Trek uses this stuff, we're being ironic. And also, just so you know, guys, the most common thing in our group chat is the inclusion flag. When somebody says something,
we're all about it. Yeah, we're all.
Yeah. That's why we do this show. Miskatonic Madman is here, and he's saying hi to everybody. It's good to see you, Eminem. Hi, and thank you so much, Wes Cagle. You know what? A lot of competition at this time slot, and for Star Trek, we're all going to keep it above the belt. And you know what? We got a great visualization of Vulcan 17 years ago that is much more important than anything else going on or anyone's tweet stream. Let's talk about Star Trek, guys, and focus on what's important. We had an amazing stream on Thursday, and again, thank you guys. That was a blast. It was so funny. That I listened back to some of that stream. There are so like everybody's just dropping one liner after another. That is one of the most classic streams in the history of this channel. It's probably very controversial, but that was one of I consider that possibly the number one funniest stream we've ever done. and again, thanks to Mark and the guys on the Landman panel for being on it. That was crazy funny and insane. It was like just the catharsis of everybody being so fed up with Kurtzman and also knowing it's over. There's never been a new Trek review quite like this before when he's been so finished. But we see Vulcan. It's a while back. In fact, I believe it's 17 years ago. 17 Vulcan years or 17 Earth years?
17 Earth years. We'll just go with that because we're watching it from a human perspective.
I think that's probably true. And we
now, I did want to say from the beginning that unlike other efforts to depict this planet, we'll just leave it there. They actually watched the old Star Trek movies and said, "What does Vulcan look like up until now? Oh, we should try to style our show after, canon that came before." And yeah, it looked kind of CGI there, but I was like, oh. Yeah, that's Vulcan. It wasn't.
They kept the sky the right color. The trees were the right height, as a certain person once said. Although there are no trees on Vulcan. There's a slightly different biome than we've seen before on Vulcan. The sand isn't like blood red, but all the places, like I think where we see Spock that one time. but it
Right.
looks
Well, they didn't go to
exactly
the
like it
George
should be
Lucas
Vulcan.
school of planet development. There's going to be other biomes.
Exactly. I love the George Lucas, like the city planet. It's just one city. What's it like at the poles of this city? It's like, oh, the sun just reflects down from the atmosphere equally all over the planet. It's always perfectly temperate jacket weather on every George Lucas planet that isn't a freezing cold hell. But yeah, no, and Vulcan for them. Luckily for Enterprise, we have a history of having Vulcan on screen. We've seen it a few times, but not a lot. But we know what it looks like. We have a great idea of what it looks like. It's been in big movies. So when they do this, it's fortunate for them that this is not an expensive location shoot or a hard location to find. You just have to go to like a mostly desertified, mostly non-vegetative area where you walk around and you can, like, at this point, they can erase the stray tree or
So
trace
LA.
more. Sean would be able to more answer that question than I do, but we see a Vulcan with a Vulcan style flashlight, a light wand, whatever. And he goes into this cave and he makes sure, not to step through the light so that he doesn't set off all the various traps. And he sees the dead Vulcan who came before him and he goes, he was good. He was very, very good. And then he goes into this chamber and he picks this up and it's the USB stick of Serac.
Yeah,
And
not Sarek. Yeah, not
Sarek.
Sarek.
Serac. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I say it pronounce it absolutely correctly, even with my New York accent. And I love the trip to the cave. It really set a Star Trek feeling because, believe it or not, like this was a slightly higher quality cave with only some parts of the cave wall looking cheap and chicken wire. Some of this cave looked better than parts of Star Trek 3. Did they go to a real cave?
Well, they may have.
Wherever they went, they kept the camera nice and focused on what they want you to care about.
Beautiful camera work, beautiful music, and hey, Welshie, thank you with the super chat. Well,
like
you can
this.
tell by the way I use my ears. I'm a Vulcan man, no time for tears. I'm meld in your mind, meld in your mind,
Melt in your mind.
meld in your mind. Thank you, RRTN Saj, for that generous super chat and chance to riff and joke. That's why we have this. That's why we love having you guys here. And hello, Michelle. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you. Hal. And so we find this is the USB stick of Serac, or otherwise known as his Katra, but. We'll get into that more deeply in the second and third episode.
I prefer to think of it
now,
more of it as a zip drive.
Yeah, it's
USB
older
stick.
technology, but it still checks out.
Yeah.
It was very easy for them to break the password on this one. It was actually like Sarek wants you to have this one, and if we're to be believed, Serac, thank you. Yeah, keep correcting me. Serac wants us to have this. It's actually. They were meant to find it a while ago, and it's got like the last few pieces of the Vulcan puzzle. And I don't know if the show begged for this and the fan mail inspired it, or they had a novel that already existed that had this in it, or both sort of happened around the same time. But this is such a well-conceived and great story that there's just a few Vulcan Dead Sea Scrolls on this USB stick that has some value. And that their story does close the plot hole that I had long thought of. This was, how could they have adopted this so quickly after only 100 years? Which would be, and I don't know if this is headcanon, this might actually raise to in-world explanation. Some of this stuff's already out there causing the Cyrenite movement, which is just growing. And the evidence has probably been piling up for years. And this moment 17 years ago is when we find the most controversial stuff. And some people have been thinking about this for just a few minutes, which in Vulcan time is 17 years. I would believe that the Vulcans would take 17 years before they even told the next person about this. This guy may have just held on to this the whole time and started releasing it last week. Vulcans, they're not like us. So very suggestive and very amazing opening teaser and stinger. What did you gentlemen think of how we got into that? Look at this here. There's no doubt the Vulcan Indiana Jones.
I was expecting to see like Serac's hair encased in amber, or maybe a Vulcan mosquito when he took that brush and he was starting to clean it off. Yeah.
Or how about just you turn on Calculon and he's just like, hello, I am Calculon. And then just like projects it for you. Like, I will now act out with the power of thespianism. The story of Sirach. And Welshie, RRTNZ says where they meant to find the Katra. K Sirach. I think they were meant to find the Katra. I don't know if he felt like they'll find this in 100 years when they're more reasonable, and 1,800 years was beyond his wisdom, or if the wisdom of Sirach is so great that he was like, you know what, it'll take him about 2,000 years to find this, and this is like us finding something from like, I don't know, like a late Roman emperor. You know, it's like Marcus Aurelius is a contemporary to some of this stuff. So,
I'm trying to figure out how that matches up, but yeah, I think so.
It'd be more like finding the Shroud of Turin has a interactive section.
Yeah,
essentially,
that's a good idea. That's a good way of putting it. Like all of a sudden, you do the right thing. The Shroud of Turin turns on for a couple of minutes and is in motion.
Sirach's essentially the Vulcan equivalent of Jesus. So
he has been. What they're doing is they're redefining in this one from like we had an Abrahamic kind of version of him from Spock and the original lore, and like there was like some vestigial similarities between the Vulcan mysticism and Judaism, including Spock's hand symbol, and it was light. It wasn't in your face, and it wasn't specific to that religion. They were just using a couple of things from it to make it look more real and to tie it into our world and to make us believe it. And I'm going to call that really good, respectful use of real world stuff because they change it enough. They're just inspired by it. And I think it's really beautiful how they take Star Trek and use it to change it into something that we can accept in analogies. Although we're not analogizing in this one. This is just Vulcan lore. Go ahead.
I want to know what the actual contents of that I don't know what you want to call that stone box. I know there's another name.
It's got his Nokia in it.
Well, clearly. Yeah, but how is the Katra actually stored? There's another story like this, I believe, from season 7 of TNG, where they capture Picard and capture Riker, and they make them both involuntary workers without compensation on that ship to find.
Is that the one that starts out where we think Picard is dead and we find some of his DNA splattered on a wall?
Yes.
How'd that DNA get there?
No, actually, they weren't abducted. Picard and Riker infiltrated them. Picard was posing as a criminal.
True. Yeah.
And Riker posed as a outcast Starfleet officer.
Or the initial like jump in to that gang may have been like a fight at that bar. Something happened at that bar where Picard's DNA ended up splattered on that wall.
Right.
And we don't know what they do at that bar at night.
And heretofore it was only on a picture of Crusher.
Which Crusher? Don't answer that.
Oh no.
Well, not Picard, but Peace 2 is just a creep, and I'm sick of him now. So I will bust on him a little.
Yeah, the end of that
Star Trek
storyline. The end of that storyline had this Vulcan device where they assembled all the pieces together. It turned into a mind-powered weapon where you use the power of the dark side.
Romulan chick.
Yeah, but she was going after the Vulcan mind weapon on this, where it said, the opposite of speak, friend, and enter on the bottom. And it was basically you fill it with all your dark side energy, and then it enables you to go after other people that also have dark side energy and delete them. And it was very mystical.
The way she deletes and the effect and everything was reminiscent of Indiana Jones and the fourth one. The last one we'll acknowledge is worth watching. What the fuck was it called? Indiana Jones and the Waste of Your Time. But it wasn't like the invasion,
the Crystal
Skull. Yeah, which is a better movie than Indiana Jones and the Destruction of Your Childhood.
But so, I know we already had this with Vulcans going into it, which is why I'm bringing it up in relation to this. But to me, I just didn't really like that it was in this stone container. And how are you keeping an essence of somebody trapped in this? I thought
The
you could
truth
only
is
keep it through someone that was living, and you could pass it at the moment of your death, which is something that's much more tangible. This seemed more like that TNG episode where Vulcans really have some not weird, but unusual, strange, non Star Trek quality to them in a way. I mean, it is Star Trek, but it's outside of that.
It
Is it
makes
possible
sense
it's
though
just-
that over that much time, a lot of the knowledge would have been lost. It's like when you keep copying a Betamax tape or something, the quality goes down with it. What do they call it? Generational degrade or something?
Generational fading.
Yeah.
I believe it's called, that's what they
so-
called in that Up the Long Ladder episode that we referenced earlier.
Yes. It's funny you brought up Indiana Jones. I
Oh,
really
good, man.
wanted in this opening before they rolled the credits for that guy 17 years ago to open the top of that stone container and just have an incredibly bright, piercing light come out and just have him get liquefied. I wanted it to be like the Holy
To be
Grail.
fair,
And-
to be fair, for a moment, like when he finds this stone thing, we don't know that on the
Or
back of
Lost
that.
Ark, sorry.
Yeah,
Holy
it,
Grail.
yeah.
Wrong
we were-
religious relic.
The Holy Grail was that was Thursday's joke and probably the funniest joke of the whole show. She looks like Jennifer Aniston drank out of a false grail. And somewhere in the middle of the show, I have to find that. That's our short.
Dude, you know what? 6 months ago, that would have probably ended me, not just made me pass out. That was.
You have to train to be part of this show and deal with Admiral Teag's comedy. It's rapier wit, man. I don't know what to say. Thank you for the compliment, Mr. Prideweather.
But yeah, no, I totally wanted it to just be Raiders of the Lost Ark in that opening. So I was a smidge disappointed, but I can't be mad about it. That's just how I would like it to have gone with my own internal headcanon. So
here's my headcanon on this one. Since it's been brought up, I've been processing and buffering on this one. How about this? When he picks up this stone ceramic thing, he looks at it and it says, like, break this. And inside of it is a USB stick. And it's like, here's how you find the guy I passed my Contra to. They've been told not to tell anybody until you find this, because we hid it away in a place where we knew that you would be a little more developed before you'd ever find it, because I kind of hid it inside this mountain. So this is how you find the guy. And when you find him, like, be cool to him because he's got my Contra. So he's kind to me. And then they're like, woo, 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 like found the coordinates and they're like, hey, let's talk about, Vulcan philosophy. And he's like, I'll own you on that one. I happen to have the Contra of a very famous Vulcan within me. And they're like, you're a Vulcan Jesus. And he's like, yeah, I'll take it. And they were able to communicate with the guy. Maybe it would just show them how to locate the guy who had this. And it could have been passed from living person to living person. Because you're right. Later on, we say that this gets passed from living person to living person.
right.
Just like herpes.
The chain of custody somehow got broken here on this one.
Or Klingon dishonor.
Yes. So that was a great opening stinger, by the way. And here's the most important thing about this show, that it really does have a legitimate claim to be part of Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. This is Roddenberry's Star Trek. It's obeying most of the rules. When it's changing things, it's doing it mildly and very slowly and with, in my opinion, a lot of care. Sussman is not a writer on this one, of note to us who want Star Trek United. So we don't know how deeply they would go into this, but here's the thing. This story is an origin tale that we didn't really need, but like fits in. This is like a Rogue One sort of approach. We take one little piece of their lore that was left unexplained, and we just delve into it because it's interesting, and we let our characters experience it. It's an interesting approach for a Star Trek show.
I also like that intro because you don't have to know everything about Vulcans to get drawn into the beginning of the episode. Like
It's
just a
interesting.
mysterious guy with a in a hood going into a desert, underground thing. Like people know Egyptians, right? So you already at least are programmed that much, where you're
I
like,
think what happened was,
what did they find of consequence?
in the back of my mind was firing that there was a show on at the time that I used to watch for up to 5 minutes. This is why the show was on, called The Relic Hunter, that it reminded me of, with Tia Carrere. I'm like, oh, maybe this is The Relic Hunter. Will they find a hot Asian chick inside this tunnel?
Warehouse 13 was also on at this time. A very great show. If you've ever seen it.
We had a lot of great entertainment in the 90s. It's something we've lost. Relic Hunter was a good show, as was VIP and Cleopatra 2525. I'll stand on that statement.
And Bones.
Bones was a great show with Angel in it. And so anyway, here we go. We got the United Earth Embassy.
If you're going Vulcan Cisco. Anyway.
We would have had more people on the stairs now, but the CGI is believable. And here we find out here in the credits that Falcon Crest guy, Robert Foxworth, who's also in a couple of TNGs, is like a Mad Admiral, right? He's going to be in this, and we know he's like a reliable, good Star Trek actor. He's given some great Star Trek performances. So right away, I have enthusiasm. Did anyone else recognize his name?
Not his name, but his voice. Yeah.
Okay, I just knew who this actor was from so many other Star Trek roles and from his own show.
Oh, the ambassador has a
Oh,
high collared shirt, and that's how you make it look in Star Trek, not Thursdays slop.
Yeah, look at these lapels. Like one person has a Nehru collar, okay, fine. But Earth people holding on to some of their culture, a collar on that jacket, making Admiral Forrest. Admiral Forrest looks military, proper, and he does look, mid-22nd century. I could believe that in 2154, human beings still more or less dress like this, because the tie has held on through my entire life of people pushing dressing down. The only progress has been Casual Friday and working from home. Working from home might kill the tie. It's as close as it gets, but
unless you're Douglas Nelson.
Yeah, Douglas Nelson nails.
Who's the gentleman in the back there, by the way? The gray hair. We've seen him. He is a famous actor.
He might be somewhat well known. Do we get interaction with him? Should I just
No, we don't. We don't.
No. Is it Harv Bennett from Star Trek 3? Is it one of their producers? I need Jim Kerr.
Oh, geez.
That guy?
No.
Because he's famous to us. Because he has.
I think he's on legal shows.
Is he like the ancient guy that's on the bridge of the Enterprise B for some stupid reason? The guy just sits there and crosses his hands.
Passes Carmen Age on there.
If anyone knows who that is, put it in chat, please. But
he does look familiar. He may be only famous to us as a Star Trek actor.
Okay.
He may have been in a bunch of Deep Space Nines or something like that. We don't know if we've seen this actor as a human before, but we know that the guy does look very familiar. And we know Star Trek takes care of its own. They have their core family of day players that they use, and also their core family of villains. And Robert Foxworthy's back in a worthy role for Robert Foxworth. And Saval here is betraying some friendship to Admiral Forrest, and Admiral Forrest has got it. It's mutual. He likes him too. And hey, the dead man. Thank you, sir. If the Vulcans found the DeLorean in that cave, they'd still deny time travel is possible. Vulcan Science Council has determined that time travel is not possible. You know what? Thank you so much for the generous Greenlandian $4.99 super chat. And if the Vulcans found the DeLoreans in the cave, they probably still would deny time travel. These are oh, you know what? And I have the wrong banner on. Let me fix my banner. Sorry about that mistake. It's left over from Friday's member chat. Member stream.
Science Directorate has determined that 1.21 gigawatts is insufficient for time travel.
Thank you, JT. That was a good one. So if you haven't turned on notifications, please do. And all right, yeah, I think I now have the right banner going down there. Sorry, guys, it's not member stream time. I apologize if anyone was confused. That was on Friday, and we'll have to try to get to do one at night. That one seemed to have a lot more people able to get there. We had our British friends and stuff at that one, so it was still fun. And Welshie was there. But yeah, thank you very much to the Dead Man, $4.99 Greenlandian super chat. I haven't heard any other YouTubers doing that. I'm the originator of that one. When other people start picking that one up, I don't know why no one else has done that. I think it's kind of inventive, but whatever.
Does that mean we
1.21
get to put
gigawatts.
Vikings on our money? I would love like a $12 bill with a Viking on it. I think that would be badass.
That would be. You know what? Like, how about teams for every how about coins for every NFL team, JT, instead of just Minnesota?
Well, the Jets would be a zero. The Jets would be a 0 penny coin.
When you owe money, they give you the Jet coin. Oh, sir, you'd better redeem this on your way out, or they're going to break your legs.
Is it all wooden nickels that you have for the Jets?
The Jet token would be a wooden nickel. Although I want to say right now that if the Jets, Dan Marino is the luckiest cocaine user in the history of the world. If he hadn't used cocaine in college, the Jets would have picked him first, and and he would have been done in 4 years, and Ken O'Brien would be in the NFL Hall of Fame and have the season passing record for a while. And Truck Reviewer and Dave C and Tetrarch, welcome to the show. Did I miss anybody? Buddy's here. Did I say hi to Buddy? It's good to see all of you. John, hello. Guys, we've got a banger for you tonight. This is not one of our most action-packed episodes.
Give it 10
seconds. Yes, a kaboom boom. There's a water balloon in the embassy that's about to rupture. But we're getting like a rare moment of quite informal friendship, and it's implied very well, and we don't have to like wonder a lot about it. It just seems logical. This has been the relationship between these two guys for a year or two now, because they've been liaisoning together for at least 3 or 4. They're just they like each other now.
Easy now that they're going to start getting shipped.
You know what? We need some Forox. We need some Forox. Is that what we would call them if we shipped Forest and Saval? Forals. We need some Forals and Savals. Yeah, we need some Saurists. Would it be Forals or Saurists if we?
I think it would just be wrong to even think about it.
I blame the Star Wars fans. But anyway, we go past Federation security into the Earth Embassy. And we have this great moment of I got some bad news for you, Forrest. We have a Vulcan Prime as well. And he's like, maybe we haven't come as far as we thought we have, both of our societies. And he's like, yes, of all the races all the species that we've come across, yours is the most vexing to us. And he's like, why? He's like, well, you're the only ones we can't figure out. And he's like, really? He's like, you're logical, you're emotional and dangerous, impulsive, you won't listen, you have no discipline, you reject logic and then selectively embrace it now, confusing us even deeper with a series of highly logical decisions in the last few years. We don't know what to make of you. And he's like, are you saying that Vulcans are frightened of humans? To which Saval says, you remind us of one species.
Well, no, his reaction was just a look, and Forrest he just looks at him and goes, why? Like he read it in his face, and that was really a nod to the acting of the guy that played Saval.
Thank you, Sean.
He answered with a look.
That's true.
Well, now, part of this too is you have to remember that Vulcans live over 200 years in some cases, right? So everyone alive, or most people alive on Vulcan right now, were alive when First Contact happened, correct?
That is true.
Right.
So
and Saval's like stuff like, Mike, I remember when people from the northern continent had to ride in the back of the runabout.
Right. And people remember how much on Earth changes in 200 years. you're looking at, just
Yeah, you're right. They've
Titanic
seen it
shift
happen. They lived it.
in values and in culture and norms. Um, the advantage of having a shorter lifespan is that your reproduction cycle is also faster, and you can iterate through your society much more quickly than the Vulcans can. Because if you've got somebody set on an idea, that idea is going to live for at least 200 years.
That's
until
why I
that
feel
last
like
person leaves. So Vulcans, by their very biology, are much more conservative, and I don't mean that in a political sense. They, as a society, are just a much more conservative species. And so, if you have something like this Surak plot, or you have the Vulcan Prime Forever people, you are not going to be able to change quite as fast as humans. So the fact that
that's
Forrest
why I
is kind
think
of
the
shocked by
Cyrenite
this,
thing is out there deeply. That's
yeah,
why I think the Cyrenite thing it's probably prevalent, and we're finding out that the high command and the loyalists are the last holdouts to the non-Cyrenite outlook. That's the only way to explain why Spock is like, oh yeah, I'll do the mind meld thing. And as far as Saval's mind meld later, I just want to say, I think you need some training to get any clarity in the mind meld. I think every Vulcan has mind meld ability the same way every phone has a Bluetooth ability these days, right? You turn on and you search for Bluetooth sources. Yeah, there might be Bluetooth sources everywhere, but
Admiral,
you're not going to take over someone else's TV unless you know the code. Go ahead.
A question to you. So when you said that, like, do you think that it was really that the majority of Vulcans were siding more with the Serenites, and that the high command just had a clamp down on them?
I think that, like, in Vulcan society, like, your average person is like got some Cyrenite stuff like mixed right in, and that the Cyrenite stuff is being like kind of suppressed but growing in popularity. And yeah, I think that the high command is like purists.
And maybe there were just a lot of people that were just afraid to talk about it. See, but let me see what you guys think of this idea.
Even be talking about it because we're not hanging out on Vulcan, right? But yeah, like, say we know that the people that they sent to Earth aren't talking about it, but they're themselves unaware of it under my theory, because I believe that to be able to do a mind meld successfully and key into the other Vulcans' Wi-Fi, you have to have the ability to, like, conjure up their Wi-Fi serial number the way Saval does when he mind melds with someone later. So you have to have a little bit of training. Can anybody be a cable guy? Sure. Can you just walk out of the house and do it? You got to watch some YouTube or go to training at the cable guy school to do it.
They hint at this when that guy melds with T'Pol. Like he doesn't do it very well. Yeah, he doesn't do it well. So you can do it. But I was going to ask you guys this. So, JT, you said like it would take them time to kind of change. Yes. I think with the Vulcans being as logical as they are, if they were exposed to the logic of the teachings that were made aware of, they could change fairly quickly. If they apply a lot, they're like, yeah, this is the. I think it'd be easier for them to change.
That was Bird of Prey 5's theory. So I agree with. I think that both are true.
I think that's possible anyway.
I disagree. I think it's not always easy to make a logical proof for everything in life. The bare science, look, Vulcans might very well be on average significantly higher in IQ than humans. And they might try to use logical proofs for things, but that's not all that life is about. And you can see this whenever you go and look at alternate realities in like a political debate or something like that, where people logically disagree in their own, some of the things are very illogical that people say, but you could justify your own viewpoint over and over and over again and reinforce that with logic, which is why at a certain point, I don't know if it's this conversation or if it's the one that the ambassador has later with Archer, where the ambassador here says that that it took them like 1,000 years after they mastered their emotions before they got into space or something
to
like
rebuild.
that.
Yeah, it took them a long time to rebuild
after their last wars. Thank you. And a lot of that I think is because they're just slower at things. I don't
No,
think
that can't be true because remember, the Romulans leave and go into space. Those who fought under the banner of the Raptor, they are able to leave and go to space. So, what I
That
guess we
because
must
they had
infer
old
is-
world technology.
I'm going
The
to say they
Romulans left
devastate
before
their
the fall.
planet, right?
Yeah.
They
And
devastate
the
their planet.
Romulans left with old Vulcan technology.
That's how the singularity drive gets lost by the Vulcans.
The singularity drive isn't invented yet.
Okay, so these guys leave in like warp 1 ships and they just don't care, and they're in space for like 10 generations until they get to Romulus.
Something like that.
It doesn't matter,
because-
sir. No one cares. Okay, yeah, go ahead,
because
sir.
the time of Sir Rock is basically Armageddon.
1,800 years ago.
They have to start from zero.
At that point, they have a war as big as the genetic wars on Earth, the eugenic wars on Earth.
Worse.
I just want to greet Kal-El and welcome him to the show, and anyone else who may have come from Nick Weiser if was on earlier tonight. I don't know if he was or not, but
he was. Yeah.
you know. Okay, so hail to anyone coming here from that show or any other show. Welcome to our show.
And also, you have to think about this logically. The easiest or the most logical path is to expend the least amount of resources on something that already works, to not take that chance or to not take that leap or that risk, because logically it's just easier to be complacent.
But the way we're looking at it from a human perspective, we got to remember these are Vulcans, and I think in the face of really tons of proof, like I think they would change. I think they would change relatively fast. In the face of overwhelming evidence.
I believe
I would
both.
tend to agree.
I think both theories are true, and that if we went to Vulcan on just vacation, we would run into some non-Cyranites here and there who are just like, F you, human. And he's like, what's up with that guy? It's like, oh, he's a non-Cyranite. Don't worry. There's a few of them here and there. They hold on to the old bigotries. There's got to be a few. It's like
that Cybok asshole.
Exactly. Cybok's like a non-Cyranite, because he's pure emotion. Or the guys who terrorize the Vulcans from the northern continent, the ones who dress up in robes out in the desert and have that weird ritual where they burn Iddic. It's like I was waiting for that when they hit Sean. All right. By the way, let's do the right thing. Vaughn Armstrong, as Admiral Forrest, has been with us every step of the way. He's been in this fight from the beginning. He was the guy who signed off on the Zindi Vengeance mission that saves the Earth. He has been our General Marshal. He is the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He has played this role with gravitas and humanity. And this last moment that we get between these two people who this hard-won, we would imagine, friendship between two diplomatic-minded men at the mercies of their own government, pulled in two separate directions, but still, striving with like gentlemen towards a solution. This is, you would imagine that this is a hard-won friendship. You know what I mean? And this moment of regret that they both have, and look at the subtle acting in their eyes about how they regret that the humans and the Vulcans still have, tension between them this far into it. And this is where he says, yeah, you remind the reason we're afraid of you is you're as violent and insane as we are, but you haven't had like 1,000-year period of enlightenment where all you did was chill. That's basically the core of this conversation. And he's like, while I believe that your species is so different from ours, that is different enough from ours that you could pull it off in the 100 years that you've had since your last war, because it was a few years even before that, and you might have been trending more reasonable. Perhaps that war was an outlier, whatever his justification is. It's like, I don't have the same kind of problem with you the rest of the Vulcans have. And I regret these tensions between our peoples. And that we get the impression that both parties feel that one day both species will achieve great things.
Did you guys detect that this was probably one of the last times we would hear Gene Roddenberry speaking through a script?
No, but when you say it,
like, that was very much Roddenberry's message.
You're right. The whole thing was deeply Roddenberry. through our reason and our determination to achieve friendship, we have gotten there because we have overcome our pettiness. And there's a
Nations of
few.
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, and the people of Vulcan too, like long before, and like the previous shared violence. It's not a shared history, but the common violence that affected both planets and changed them. And he's like, like aside from the fact that the time frames are different, like it's a very similar series of events. We had factional war, we had different problems, and we were really passionately violent. Like and he's like hinting at like what we see with the Romulans and and if you embrace the other side of this, and that's when the embassy is struck by an attack. We'll call it that. Kaboom, boom. A pretty good special effect. I thought it was pretty darn good. Looked great for its time, and very much has aged well. And we jump to the Enterprise, and there are some of the paper towels actually have been pulled off the rack and have been used. Is that what it is, JT, or is that a linen towel?
Those are towels like you would get at I guess a gym that you pay more than $10 a month for.
And this is where we find out that Phlox is as athletic as a monkey. He's like draining threes from all over their undersized basketball court where anybody could drain a three, but it's impressive to us.
Yeah. I wanted to see Mayweather just do a full-on 360 dunk. And that's it's like he just fucking own him. He's like, I got it. He just goes I own your ass.
Or totally just like hard fouling Tucker, and it's been like, I read my family lineage. You had that coming, Tucker.
Or he just flops like LeBron.
Oh yeah, I thought that was going to be more likely. I did want to hear in like the video about this, like if he had made that dunk, like so Prideweather couldn't actually tjump. We had him stand on a pallet and had a forklift lift him up, and he just walked around in a circle real quick.
That's because Prideweather, like Tucker, they've only become aware of this, and it's if you watch the show, you can tell they're both descended from Thomas Jefferson. That's what it is. They're both.
No! Now, before you go, center of the screen, dead center of the screen.
Oh, we're not going to get out of this one without talking about how great Hoshi looks, and that we get to see Linda Park's beautiful body on screen. She greets us at the beginning of every show. I forgot to do the Linda Park greeting. You know what? I'm sorry, guys. We didn't play for like 4 weeks while we were doing the other Star Trek stuff. That one's on me. You know what? We don't need a super chat for this one. Let's get Linda on here to endorse the show.
Incoming transmission.
Welcome to Saving Star Trek, a show talking about one of my favorite shows, Enterprise. I am Linda Park. I play Hoshi Sato and also Empress Sato. So enjoy this show. I love that it's finding a whole new life on the streaming services. And you better hit that like button or Empress Sato will not be happy. I mean, she could make a storm happen, and she could really make your life hard. Anyways, enjoy the show, hit that like button, and thank you for being a fan of Enterprise.
She was sweet to make that. I want to thank my friend Sean for getting it for me. And there she is, looking beautiful. And Michelle seems to be taking off. So, Michelle, thank you for dropping by. It was great to see you. Long live Empress Sato. Yes. Or if you're hanging with us, hang. There's a lot of episode left, but not too many events because we're going to spend a lot of time walking around in the desert later. So I think this will be a quicker synopsis. And I think after 5 hours on Thursday, this might not be the longest Saving Star Trek episode ever, but we'll see. Famous last words, right?
I want to see All versus Phlox, one on one.
Game of horse.
Just some backyard one on one. ball.
I wanted Malice at the Palace action between Pride
Oh, hell
Weather
yeah.
and Tucker, but that was.
Did I tell you
that's
about
me.
that? Did I tell you about that? My uncle told me later, like a month later, that because when he lived up here, he was connected with all the sports scene, and he actually had tickets for like a row or two below where that guy was sitting.
That guy's
Right
name
in
was
that
John Burns, I
section.
believe, if I remember correctly. I remember everything about that because I watched it so many times. It was epic.
He's like, of all the games
saw
not to go to,
Oh,
of all
God,
the
yeah.
games not to go to.
Actually, that's a great game to be at because how many visiting fans from Indianapolis could have possibly been there, right? It was everyone
Right.
from in the stands is from Detroit. If you're from Indianapolis, you're running for your life. And the Malice the Palace was a
6-7 hour drive to do that.
1996.
So
Is it a 1996 basketball game? And who starts it? It was a rowdy fan, but who really makes it go viral was from Queens, Ron Artest,
Yes.
fucking Queensbridge houses, fucking runs up and then basically one guy from the Pacers takes on the entire team and crowd of the Detroit Pistons, and after a couple of minutes of him like fighting them all to a standstill, the rest of his team shrugs and decides they have to get into it too. And if you can't find the fight because the NBA owns the footage, but even the ball boy started brawling with one of the guys off the Pacers bench. The ball boy didn't back down from one of the Pacers. That was one of the most badass fights. And did they even finish the game? That fight lasted like 40 minutes. It was
I can't remember.
They had to clear off the court. The officials couldn't get control. That was a great fight.
About 500 green dildos were thrown out there.
This was an NBA game, not a WNBA game.
Right.
Thrown on the court. Yeah, there were condoms. This was a display of masculinity.
Wait a minute.
And,
NBA players don't use those, Teag.
That's true. That's why they're all like endorsing cars and stuff like that in their old age. Go ahead, JT.
No, it was something that'll live in infamy. Just yeah, and it wasn't, but it wasn't like the game was close. I think Indianapolis was up like by 15 points in the last minute of the game. Like
the guy was on the training table getting like a cramp worked out because the game was over for him. They weren't even going to try to win, and a fucking rowdy fan threw a beer at him, which is why you now have like canvases over the tunnel and other shit like that at sports. The Malice Palace changed a few things. And you thought Delonte West was the rudest NBA player. I love when Ron Artest, the craziest person in the world from Queens, changes his name to Meta World Peace. It's like you don't understand one of those words and you're like violently against the other one. The only word in that sentence you understand fully is world. All right, so Paul looks great in this like variation of her red outfit. We've talked about it since the beginning of the show. Finally, it's just Jolene Blaylock as Jolene Blaylock with whatever she's done, worked out like a mad woman and all the other things to be beautiful. She's grown in a normal enough pixie cut that it's no longer got distracting hair pieces in it. And it's sad to say this, but here we are in season 4. We've got our pretty girl looking the prettiest she can look finally. Her Wilma Deering uniform is a little hotter, but guys, we've been through 3 seasons of different looks. I think we've got it right for T'Pol. There are no missteps this season. She has been the Deanna of this show as far as not getting the uniform right. Gentlemen, I hand it over to you.
I agree. So say we all.
So say we all.
Yeah.
Good enough. That works for me.
I did want to ask you guys,
unlike
though.
Diana,
Yes.
Diana, they actually got it right with DePaul eventually.
They noticed that they got it right, and Hoshi's like, "Hey, I'm over here. Look at me, you fools!" You know. And I would just say maybe Mr. Pride Brother could take advantage of everyone else's distraction to hit on Hoshi, but of course, he's, as we said, but far more interesting in settling his grudge with Mr. Tucker. So there's Vulcan, by the way, looking really cool, and this new shot of the Enterprise, always flying with the top of the ship oriented towards the planet that we had seen since first contact. I like this because that's how the space shuttle flew, and it was a logical way to orbit, and it was a change from the way it had been presented in TNG, TOS, and even Voyager. What do you guys think of this new approach that we've been doing we've been doing this for a couple of seasons, but this is the first season that we have a lot of shots of it.
I think it's realistic.
Yeah, it does.
Planet?
Realism
A
to it.
planet, you mean?
Well, the planet looks great, and the new orientation of the ships in orbit. This is an equatorial orbit being presented to us in a new way.
I just like that it looks better than the crap we had on Thursday, and they spent 30 times more on that.
Oh, absolutely. Germ?
Well, this is the first real full-time CGI ship they had, so they can actually do it this time. Everything else was they had to adjust for the model. Even in Voyager,
did they? Oh, you're talking about in this show. I was like, what do you mean?
In this show,
did they scan a model? Yes, this show has always had a CGI ship. Although we saw the guy who designed it, he did make a model. There are models of this that pre-exist this rendering being made. They had to show it to people to approve it. Like there were models, but I don't know if they scanned it in there off of the model or whatever. But it looks great, and when we see our ship, we see it for longer periods of time than we ever see it in New Trek. I can't show you the whole sequence, but it looks great. And into the interior of our ship, we now have a lot more hallway and a lot more ship. I like this convincing, conjunction of hallways. We can imagine that there's even more going on. We've got budget problems, so we're keeping a tight, claustrophobic ship so as not to invite wondering where the crew is, which is something that the New Trek people can't do because the NX-01 is implied to be small and doesn't have a cavernous look to it. Oh, you found the Malice
hotel.
Palace?
Yeah, I did find the clip. Yeah.
Remind me guys, when we finish this plot synopsis, we'll talk about the Malice at the Palace again. It's a great fight.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys before we get too further. During that scene where Saval and Forrest are talking, and he goes, you guys, come, you stopped doing your war only 100 years ago, and Forrest says, well, we decided we weren't going to kill today. That was in the show.
Yeah. It was it was a beautiful tribute to old Star Trek that's not a member berry that was earned. And then we had an emotional scene that stood on its own, that didn't depend on older Star Trek. And here comes a guy who's going to be a little bit of a problem. He's the head of the Vulcan High Council, or he's their head investigator. I forget which, but
one of them is the guy with the gray hair is the head of the High Command. The other guy is the chief investigator.
The guy on the left is the chief investigator, or I thought Stell was the chief investigator. Yeah, he's going to.
The guy with dark hair. All three of them are there.
Now they picked the perfect guy to be head of the Vulcan High Command.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
The way they cast him, that was great. Just the way he walked in, you knew he was trouble. You were not going to get along with him. And he looks different. Yet.
He looks different from when he was a bad guy admiral on TNG, but he's like, it doesn't take too long for it to coalesce in your mind. You've seen him before, and you know he's a powerful Star Trek actor. And then
he smokes 17 cigars a day.
I would, yeah. If I was this guy's Robert Foxworth is a Chad. He's got a cool name, and there is Stell, the head of the investigation, who Sean said was
that
really
guy,
well cast.
that Stell guy. I was listening to him, and I would have put money that I thought that was the guy that played Hugh, because when I heard his voice, he sounds just like Hugh the Borg. But when I looked it up, it is not him, but he sounded just like him. But that guy's been in a lot of Trek too.
Has he?
Yeah, he has quite a few.
He's young.
He has quite a few Trek credits. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So this guy does give us a good performance. And I thought they chose his name well. I thought Stell was a good antagonistic Vulcan name because it reminded me of Stan from the from TOS.
Floss is his name, right? The head here, Floss.
Yes, Floss, I believe is his name. And the confrontation. This is where
So
they
he's
start
not
breaking
British.
down. No. That's
Because
our friend the Tachyon. Tachyon Pulse is not on their planet yet. He's headed there. And they sit Archer down. They obviously they go to the Enterprise and they sit down with Archer and they're like, "We're sorry your friend died." He expresses remorse for the Vulcans that were lost. 12 Vulcans were killed, or was it 47? I forget. A bunch of Vulcans die.
12 Vulcans and 31 humans.
Okay, that's why I had that high number. Thank you, Germ. And this is where they say it was the Sirenites, and but first they go, it was the Andorians, and Archer's like, bullshit. And that's when he's starting to wonder what's going on with these particular Vulcans and their Teag. When they leave with Vulcans, when they leave with it was the Andorians, he's like, that is some bullshit. He scoffs at it. And they're like, we also think it could be this violent sect in our society called the Sirenites. And he's like, we also think it could be the Sirenites. And he's like, I've never heard of that species. And they're like, no, these are like, radical Vulcans. Very bad guys. You don't want to mess with the Sirenites. They're like the Vulcan Republican Army. And, to Paul already from hearing about the Sirenites, we can get an idea of how much the Sirenite philosophy is out there. Because does anyone think she didn't hear about some of this stuff from her mom? Did her mom just pick up on this Sirenite stuff that's been out there for 17 years last week?
I don't know. Anytime I think of T'Pol's mom, it's dirty.
T'Pol's mom is Zora the Replicant. We'll meet her. I don't know if she's in this episode. I think she's in the next one. Zora the Replicant, Joanna Cassidy plays T'Pol's mom, to which all of us say, we would. She was still hot in this. She's only like 47 years old. She's younger than some of us now. And it's weird just to think, we were watching this thinking, wow, she's kind of old, but she's still hot.
She is. She drank from the correct grail.
Yes, unlike Holly Hunter. So even Saval is a little bit doubtful that maybe the Sirenites would do this, and we're going to find out why later.
He is a bloody Sirenite.
Yes. Okay. Spoiler alert. But so we have two Sirenite sympathizers here, and the only people who aren't Sirenites are Vulcan High Command. One of whom is going to be shown to have some very, very nefarious motives. And Archer is a ball of energy. When they start saying things that don't make sense, he hops up out of his chair and he walks around the table, which I would point out isn't necessary. But this is in line with Scott Bakula's acting style. I don't know whether he advocated for it or they said, Scott, your character's just an energetic guy. This is an aggressive physical move. He stands up, walks around the table, and is like, why are you guys talking shit to me? And Robert Foxworth says, now, we'll tell you some more truth in a little while. And Archer's like, all right, I'll sit back down in my chair and calm down. But, don't try to trivialize this or tell me any more bullshit. And here's the remains of the.
I must say, I'm not a fan of this embassy. Out of all the stuff we did, we were like, we're going to build it out of concrete.
Yeah, right. It looks like the Terrell Corporation building, but smaller. And I'd point out that if this had been made by the people from Sharon, it would still be burning. It would have 10,000 more years left to burn. So, we're not even making the best flammable materials yet. So, yeah, it's concrete. And you see the rebar hanging, but it is detailed in good CGI. We'll say that.
To me, it kind of looked like maybe an Omnicorp building.
It could have been, or
in my area, but,
Yeah, OCP, otherwise known as OCP.
Yeah,
but we have a parallel investigation on the Starfleet end, and Mr. Reed and Mr. Prideweather are stuck in an unstable area, and Reed finds a kaboom boom device, which if you take those green sticks and crack them and bring them to a nightclub and wave them around, that's called being at a rave. But it's futuristic and cool enough.
They did what they could.
They look cool enough. I don't have a problem with it. At least they didn't grab the thing with the 3 neon lights inside it again, like we did a couple episodes back. The multifunctional prop that has the neon lights inside of it. The neon light.
Oh yeah,
lights.
like the thing in the middle. I think it looks almost like a thermostat, or it's some kind of device like that.
We've seen that in the real world.
I was just going to suggest that maybe, in the real world, you would pop some of that off and maybe go to Alberta with it. But hey,
yeah, right. Sell some of it for scrap. Buy some more food. Okay, so JT there in the center screen, just off the side of the door at eye level, is one of your favorite props in the show. Mine is the fact that they had the foresight to have a step-on waste basket like I do. But that is a new waste basket. They had a Rubbermaid one in earlier seasons, guys. So we track these things. They decided the sink was a little too much. They moved it a bit out of sight. It's been moved, and now the paper towels are nowhere near the sink. Do we now have 2 paper towel racks? This is scandalous. JT, your thoughts on this use of paper towels? You have had a problem with this.
It has moved, has it not? I feel like they moved this around the corner. I feel like it's moved around the corner, so now your wet hands get to drip on the floor before before you consume this limited supply of hand drying material.
Unless those are the backup towels and there's more towels out of sight over the sink, and they're just really just doubling down on the paper towel thing here.
What they really should have done is had one of those motion sensor dispensing paper towel dispensers,
my favorite,
and just hook it up to the EPS grid. You don't need a bunch of D-cell batteries. Just hook it up to the grid, and then it's much more sanitary that way. If you're going to be,
but by the 22nd century, they still haven't figured out how to make them work. It still fucks up.
So we're visiting one of our Starfleet casualties. Is this Starfleet medical on Vulcan, or are we on the Enterprise?
We're on the Enterprise right here.
Yeah, it makes no sense, right? Why would you not be at Starfleet medical on Vulcan, or letting the Vulcans help him out because they have more advanced medicine? I guess Flock might trump everyone. Maybe Flock.
Yeah, I thought this was poor. I thought this was just a poor convenience, like an excuse.
They didn't want to build another set, and they didn't have the money. So we're getting some medical evidence trickling in, and Archer already doesn't like this guy because, let's face it, this guy is doing a great job of making us dislike him. He is a dick and doing a good job playing a dick. And Archer sort of disses and dismisses him. And then we have our solemn moment, and it's treated with proper solemnitude and proper reverence, where we see the flag draped coffins. And by the way, do we not see this shot copied in Battlestar Galactica in their early movie? So,
copy, I don't think so, but yeah, it's stylistically
very similar.
Well, they're both very militaristic, so it doesn't feel like a ripoff.
No, I'm just saying that they're considering these kinds of powerful visuals already.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying, and that's the extent of that one.
That was so controversial, sir.
What can I tell you? But so it's treated with proper weight. Archer is properly sad for his comrades. These weren't his men. Although he might have known Private Vasquez, because we seem to have gotten rid of our Makos, haven't we?
We're just not going to hire them for this episode.
We do see Makos here and there. We don't make much of them.
They're canonically still on this ship, but they just don't have any roles.
Right, yeah, we don't see them very much anymore. We will see them in the background sometimes in a militaristic situation, or at least people who use the Mako gear. I want to give it up to the costume department and the prop department. I thought these Federation flags that we see are very cool iterations of the flag that we see at Spock's funeral. I don't think it should be white, but no big deal. And I would just ask now, does anyone else hear my neighbor who is probably going to be shot by another neighbor pretty soon? Practicing the bagpipes outside my fucking
I hear some
window?
music. I hear some music, yeah.
I'll be sorry.
And he's not playing Amazing Grace, unfortunately.
Listen to this. You live in a city, there are crazy people who go up on their roof on a Friday night wasted and play the bagpipe at 10:30.
The sun is down. The sun's been down for hours. That's a public nuisance.
There is no such thing as disturbing the peace in New York with noise. What can I tell you? The police won't buy it. They might show up and tell people it'd be a good idea to shut up or get beat up. But I did like these flags, and like I guess that proves that everybody lives in New York, as we've said. This is a Latino neighborhood, an Asian neighborhood, and that just proves it's an Irish neighborhood as well. Fucking everybody. What next? A drive-by shooting to prove that the Italians are well represented? We got everybody here. And I live here, so it's a Cuban neighborhood. I'm one of New York's 40,000 Cubans, and you get to have me as your host. Anyway, sufficient weight here. Archer is moved by what's happened and upset. He's lost his friend Admiral Forrest. And these two characters have always had something of a rivalry, including when JT did not like when Saval showed Captain Archer a very inappropriate horror movie before they went into the Delphic Expanse. JT, you have been the most keen on the Vulcans on this one. Why don't you handle the and Germ? You guys handle the relationship that we've had between these two characters over the course of our show, Archer and Saval. The only thing they have in common is they both are friends with Forrest.
Right. And he is such a different character from season 1, especially the first like 4 episodes. It almost boggles the mind that it's the same actor and the same name playing this. He is written so differently. I don't know if that's because of the arc of the show that Archer's proven his misconceptions wrong. Somehow I don't
Archer
think that
did save Vulcan in the opinion of even Vulcans who don't. A lot of Vulcans don't like Earth, but most Vulcans are pretty reasonable. Most Vulcans have extrapolated that the Xindi would have destroyed Vulcan next. They feel that he's somewhat a savior of Vulcan. Do they think that they could have put up a good fight on their own? I'm pretty sure they do. But they do acknowledge that he played a critical role in preserving their safety too. But I love their flags, and I didn't notice it, but some of the palm leaf is made up of Delta logos. Beautiful touch. Unlike the way we use the Delta logo now, just to stick it on a ship that looks nothing like a Starfleet vessel at all. That was some of the worst ship design we have ever seen.
Well, it's always been my dream to be in Starfleet, so it would make sense that you would put a Delta logo in a Dreamcatcher.
You see, that was so stupid, and it's always been my dream to eat a comm badge.
I was going to comment that when they stepped onto the Enterprise with Floss, that his pin on his tunic was very appetizing looking. Looked like it would be quite tasty.
It did, and I also point out everyone's uniforms and clothing symmetrical because that makes sense, not asymmetrical for no goddamn reason because you bought some clearance clothes from 1998 before this show was even made. In T'Pol's office in her cabin, where for some reason she keeps some alcohol, maybe Trip's coming over later. Her husband, who she doesn't really dig, comes over, and you can see the lovelessness in that Vulcan finger touch. Not giving him any finger tongue.
It's body oil.
It's the body oil she uses on Trip. You're right.
Yeah.
But you can see this little loveless finger touch. You know, so their hearts are. He's passionate. He's like, do I need a reason to visit my wife? And she's just like, oh God. So looking at him the way many husbands have been looked at when she's sizing up the assets and thinking, she's like, I've already pre-visited all divorce lawyers within a commuting distance of your home. I have made it very difficult for you. I will get favorable terms when I get rid of you. And he's like, here, take this. It's like, oh, what is it? And he's like, oh yeah, a little token of my affection. It's an Idic and blah, blah, blah. So here's our ship. It looks fucking great again. I mean, it's Gary Owen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there you go.
Unreal. Do you want to take over the narration for a moment while I just go to my window and act Italian? I'll be back.
Don't mute it. I hope he didn't mute.
He did not.
All right. I think I stunned him.
We did. We
should be
did. We
okay
did.
Did he
get that
respond
off
to
his
you?
face.
He
Did he
yelled
respond to you?
back, yeah. I yelled back in Irish. I don't know what the fuck he was saying.
Aren't
So
the bagpipes Scottish? So it would be Gaelic.
yes,
It's kind of
they're
Scottish. Gaelic,
also
maybe.
they're also Galician Spanish.
Okay.
That's true. The Galician Spaniards play bagpipes and also wear kilts and have those hats.
Interesting.
All right, so
Interesting. Okay.
at this point, we've got the Idic in play. I always thought this was a pretty cool thing. Now, I thought that the way that Colorado is part of Denver, the Idic is the symbol that you have completed the Kolinar, but it's just Vulcan jewelry, correct? Symbol of Vulcan, symbol of affection. And also
the equivalent
infinite
to the
differences.
cross.
Or like a clattering.
Something like
Possibly
that.
something like a clattering, if our
maybe.
friends know what that is.
I don't think it holds any significance to her. That's the only thing that matters here.
It's ethnically Vulcan, and it looks a lot like Bones would have been like, hey, can I wear that to Studio 54 before movie one?
Yes, 100%.
And we're going to get the Idic explained to us a little later. I did dig their topographical map look over of the of Vulcan. It was cool. This fits right in with the future. And hey, they do things just like this now. So perfect.
Interesting that they were able to get that detailed because they're not allowed, they can't use any scanners. So this was like some Google.
Those scanners
Earth,
don't work there.
like
You can
2D
scan
to
it from
3D.
space.
Yeah,
I think you can scan it from space, but if you're there, your localized scanning doesn't work, and you can't pick up life forms. But like features like this, you can scan for. And let's remember, Vulcan is a planet with a spacefaring civilization, so they themselves at least have walked every inch of this at some point in their past. And also, let's not even forget, this is the Thermopylae or the or the Gettysburg of Vulcan. Right? This is where a great battle has taken place here 1,800 years ago between those who marched beneath the banner of the Raptor, which I thought was great.
This is a little bit of advice for JJ if you're listening. This is how you handle devices in your story. You don't use them as MacGuffins, or you don't use them as a thing to go find the thing. The thing just has one purpose, and then it's done.
Yeah, the Idic had a chip, had like a nice geolocation chip inside of it.
Yeah, it was to Paul's mom, and she was saying, "Help me, you're my only hope."
Yeah, she's like, why does this Idic chain have a USB port on it? Oh, wait. So this was pretty cool, though. Like, she needed the other component to make it work. So it was kind of like a puzzle in its own right. And, you know, just a little bit of secretness of this belief system. And then we get an even better look at the CGI map. And it's everything we could ask for in a tactical display. Doing a great job. Again, great ship sets, and we're seeing again that the budget cuts have cost us background actors. In previous seasons, people would have been walking across that hallway and scooting to the side to get past the captain and trip. But we've seen these uniforms before. They have situational uniforms, and he's wearing his desert uniform. And I love how beautiful Jolene looks in her Wilma Deering. I'll throw this to the BSG fan. JT, you want to talk about this outfit? Whoa!
It does look very Wilma Deering. It also would be a great choice to pick if you're going to a desert planet that's quite hot. The white color would deflect heat and, you know, reflect solar radiation off you, right? So this is a good choice all around. I also love the belt that kind of breaks up the uniform. That's in a subtle way. That's kind of the problem that we've had.
Patriots cheerleader.
Yeah. This is a problem that we've seen with more modern attempts to create a Star Trek uniform that works, where they don't work at all. This is just very subdued as well. I don't think you're trying to
It's
make her
remarkable
look
and how
overly
unremarkable it is.
beautiful. Yeah, you're not trying to like accentuate her beauty at all. It's just it's
They've accepted that she is damn beautiful on her
yeah,
own, and they
yeah.
don't have to play it up. We've gotten rid of the fiberglass cuirass from season 1, which was an abomination. Let's face it.
I just, fiberglass splinters are not fun. So I just hope that none of that ever happened for her in season 1. Anyway,
I love their updated transporter. They
I was
now
gonna
have
say, I don't like it. I don't like the walls.
Oh, I thought they had
It
it
looks
just right.
weird.
I thought it looked very Star Trek, but you know what? We can
To me,
agree
it looks
disagree on
weird.
that one. Well, here's the thing, though. Would this be a new, more refined transporter for people? Is that why it's not the same one we started out with, which was more of a platform with no distinguishing pads on it? We had
Maybe.
a transporter area where things appeared until now.
Yeah.
I think this is a new refined transporter, part of the post-Zindi battle refit. This seems to be a new transporter, and now we have and it looks like it might be from the Deep Space Nine set.
From
Anyone
the
think-
Defiant.
Yeah,
Or
anyone think this
okay.
might be the Defiance transporter room or transporter pads?
Maybe.
All right, so we send them down to Vulcan. As we see, it's desolate. There's a lot of good places in California to film it. We're out there at night, and we run into a sea lot. We have to run for our lives. It's real dangerous. There it is down at the bottom of the screen, moving around, prowling. Let's see if we can do this without getting into too much trouble. I like the way she says run, too. That it's without emotion. It's like, it's a sea lot. Run. And then she just starts running her ass off. Should she be able to run faster than Archer? I guess it makes sense that we run about the same pace because, okay, super strength does not imply super speed.
Well, he's taller and they're climbing something there, right? So it might be more of a size thing where it's easier to just scale that rock outcropping. Was this in the same location as the Gorn encounter in TOS?
I believe we're near Vasquez Rocket in the same park, but when Chuan gets back, he'll be able to verify that for us. We also have some nice matte paintings or CGI generated landscapes. We didn't get a good look at the sea lot for you here, but you're not missing anything because you don't get a good look at a sea lot. It's a bear-like creature that they're smart enough to show it at night in the dark. They learned that from Lord of the Rings. But yes, it does look like we've returned to one of our favorite locations for them to do Star Trek, where the Gorn where arena takes place. Back on the ship, we're doing some medical investigation. Star Trek CSI figures out that the clone cells that they planted of the Serenite that they're pinning this on are the ones they registered with the Vulcan High Council when they were a baby. To which I say, my God, they keep your DNA on file on Vulcan? What a bunch of wild people. That's pretty freaking intrusive.
It is, isn't it? That's pretty nuts.
Jeremy, you have any feelings about that? Would you let them do that to you?
Well, being a child, I don't think there's much of a choice, but
would you bring your child to be DNA fingerprinted by the Vulcan High Council?
I would give them fake DNA, but I'm paranoid like that.
All right, so Flock says that these are fake cells. These were taken
weren't
from
fake.
They were real. These were this is planted evidence because these are infant cells, and we know that this person is 32 years old. So these are a match, but these are from a point in time so long ago that it couldn't have been connected to this event. They are now the evidence tying them to this is BS. And then we meet, what is his name? Arak, which his name means desert wind, and he's a Vulcan mystic of sorts, and he's walking around here in the desert, following the path of Serac to get some enlightenment, because it makes a lot of sense. And it also shores up that there's quite a few Serenites, because we just run into someone in the desert. How many people were walking around following the path of Serac? I think a lot of stuff that was only hinted at in their society gets confirmed. That's why we have people ready to accept it too.
And let people feel free to disagree with me on this, but I think the fact that they have to hide as Sirenites just shows that this society is not nearly as open and logical and scientific and rational in reasoning as they claim to be in how we're supposed to think that they are in Spock's era. I think that no one speaks
government
up.
is deeply out of step. The government's
the
not
government
legitimate
is
anymore.
society on this. Maybe I just think that the fact that everyone is so scared to speak up because it'll ruin their livelihood and ruin their careers is not a very scientific, rational society at all.
Could most other people have logical reasons with nothing to do with that? Why they just like the Sirenite creed makes sense. Why have problems? I'll just adopt it quietly in my own life. I don't know. It's kind of presented like it gets accepted so fast within 100 years later. Spock is like, adept at all of these things and knows all the Sirenite stuff. And the Sirenitism has become Vulcanism by rote. And there's only like maybe a few stragglers left of the Sirenite belief. It's always possible that they ended up with some sort of theocracy, right?
It's hard to say, but it definitely tees up why you need Sirach on a lot of this, because something is not right on Vulcan.
We're going to have to get the Ouija board of Sirach and bring him in to talk about this personally, because we are upsetting a lot of Vulcan lore. One thing we did improve on, though, was we used to have orange skies that were monochrome. We have an orange sky with some weather going on. We see some clouds. It looks like a more real sky. It lacks the absolute flatness we've seen in the past. There's some awareness, and there's an angle of the sun that's not like it is on a soundstage, because it just looks very real, and it's a well done. They may have even bought just the orange monochrome board behind them and bought it to the location. But this is a very convincing shot, well framed, and gives us an idea of what they're up against in this desert. And the Vulcan mystic guy, he's waxing poetic along Cybok lines, and she's urging Archer to be careful, and he offers her sunglasses, and that's where she mentions her inner eyelid. And again, she just looks beautiful here. He's like, you want some sunglasses? They're pretty cool. Plus, like, messing around and giving girls sunglasses work for Tom Cruise in Risky Business, a movie that we saw on movie night, because that's a Paramount movie and we're a Paramount show.
I don't know. I thought this was kind of a little ham-fisted approach to talk about what Vulcans are for those that might not know what Vulcans are in the show, right? Like,
they were told to reintroduce Star Trek.
Yeah,
they were told to reintroduce ideas. I thought it was subtle enough. So
you did? Okay, I thought it wasn't.
I didn't
nearly subtle enough. So
it's ham-fisted if you're a hardcore Trekkie, but it's only just so. Only, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not invasively so. And if you're a non-Star Trek fan, it's vital. So if you sit there as a Star Trek fan and you're like, you want Star Trek to go on, when I watched it today, I was like, it was important for them to do this, but it was awkward. That was my feeling on it. It was like, this was as awkward as it was important, and they didn't know how to approach it either, which is what undermined its effectiveness for older fans. And this may have increased the disaffection that kept this show down. There was always disaffection. From nitpicking the theme song, which we have to call a nitpick now, because the show was worthy enough to survive, and it was like it came so close to making it that we have. I think we all have agreed that. Germ, am I not right that it was every little thing? It wasn't any one thing that ended the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of small things. Besides the Zindi stuff, there's nothing really that was overly offensive to the fans.
Sorry, Germ, not to cut you off. Could you back up about 30 seconds to get a picture of this guy in full view? This one will work. This is so TMP. And so movies Spock Vulcan.
I
It is
agree.
awesome. I loved this part, and it's not something that you would necessarily notice unless you froze to get a good look at him at any point. But
I
this
don't
is
think
how
they're
you
reusing
respect
any
the canon
props.
that you sing. Yeah.
They're not reusing any wardrobe either. It's not like it happened that way. It's like he's wearing the correct colors. They've styled him the same. And, he looks like he's prepared for this desert environment.
Right.
I mean, we could argue that he should have a bag because he has some magical food and utensils that appear later. But okay, good enough. And like I said, they spent enough time in Star Trek setting up Vulcan as an environment that they have a lot of sets they can go to. This could just be like a concrete factory. Honestly, they can be walking past the extra sand there, and it wouldn't matter because we've seen Vulcan this way for so long. It's an easy place to find locations for. And this guy really does have, especially with the hair, his long hair wig or his long hair, looks like movie Spock at the beginning where he hears V'ger's call.
Yeah.
And I felt the call of V'ger. And I felt the power of Star Trek in this episode. I felt it was a good, here we had an episode that felt very Star Trek-like. Again, another beautiful shot of our NX. And here we are in sickbay with Private or Corporal Vasquez, and we're talking about the idea of these mind melds and how we can get ideas. And it's a little risky, it's very controversial, oh sir, and only a few people know how to do it. And they're like, well, we need to know. And he's like, I can do it. And they're like, whoa. And this is where we get this actor just earning everything that we've been through with him. The whole journey pays off here as he prepares for the mind meld. Meanwhile, back on the planet, Archer and T'Pol are ditching a firestorm. There are electrical sandstorms in the desert, which I guess are theoretically possible, especially on a planet where copper is the most abundant mineral. JT, on the science of this one, enough friction could cause maybe some electricity here for these sandstorms?
I'm not really a good, or I don't know what you would need to be, a meteorologist, some type of weathered environmental scientist,
maybe
an environmental scientist possibly would have this type of discipline.
Any guesses on why we have force lightning on Vulcan?
Yeah, I would assume something like that would be possible given enough copper in the atmosphere.
I also would have to think that humidity would be so low. If I were Archer, my skin would just be cracking. Like your hands would be cracking, your lips would just be done. You would have dry eyes. It would just be hell if this is the amount of atmospheric electricity that just gets to go all over the place. Now, I don't know exactly where the source of this electricity is, but usually vertical is the direction that this stuff travels. So it's unusual, but I didn't have a problem with it. I really didn't.
I liked the lightning storm for its effect on the plot, to give it some urgency and to make them have something to flee from. I would just say very quickly, here's this meaningless headcanon conversation. It's a desert. It's been said to be extremely hot. Archer's wearing a jacket. Anyway, my theory here is that clothing and fabric and technology have advanced to, he can just do something as simple as changing the position of one of the zippers, or maybe there's a control, and now his jacket bleeds off heat. I believe that it also, if he falls, his jacket takes about as much impact out of it as NFL pads. I believe their clothes can do a little bit to help them out now. Anyone have any theories on that, or am I just dreaming here?
I honestly never put any thought into it until now. So,
yeah, it would be a good excuse for some of the stunts they do.
I always felt that their clothing could take a little more beating than normal clothing and maybe disperse the force of a punch. Otherwise, how do you get hit by an augment and survive? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It lends a little bit. It demystifies some of the stunt work, like Germ said too. So at any rate, we do have lightning storms on Vulcan, and Archer's got to make a run for it with T'Pol looking beautiful, and this guy has the solution. It's the reverse of The Last Jedi. They're going to put rocks in front of the entrance to the cave, seal himself in, and get ready to have a conversation. And this, I mean, I like the way he looks over at Tucker. He's like, "Do you have to watch me while I'm doing this?" You know, it's like I do my best mind meld work when people aren't looking over my fucking shoulder. And it's, this was one of the most dramatic and effective mind meld sequences in all of Star Trek. If there are 5 best mind melds, this is among them. Volaris in Star Trek 6 is another one. The Horda is another one. Pick out 2 more. I don't know, guys. I'll throw it to the panel. Let's start with JT and work up the totem pole. Or jump ball, guys. Is it crazy for me to think that this was one of the most well acted and dramatic and enjoyable performances of a mind meld we've seen?
Oh yeah.
It may have been. I wanted to hear him say your mind to my mind, and do that whole thing exactly copied. He did his own variation.
It's the early. He's a Syrianite. He doesn't know the new version.
Yeah, maybe they hadn't formalized it yet.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the best solely because once you disqualify all the Tuvoks, there's not very many.
Yeah.
Because Russ didn't really do it very well. He just grabbed your face like he was trying to shake you down.
I did like the one when Tuvok was like feeding. He goes, "Oh, you want bad emotions? Here, I'll give you some bad emotions." I did like that scene where that
and then he pulled out his phone.
Yeah, the species that traded in negative emotions. I did like how Tuvok says, "Hold my idic." That was a good one. But yeah, Jeremy, you're right. Normally Tuvoks are just, eh.
We never defend Tim Russ. We never defend Tim Russ on this channel. We will defend his performance as Tuvok, though. We think he's really good. But he sucked at the mind meld. That was one big hole in his game as a Vulcan. And also, I will say the show didn't help him out when the first mind meld we see him do is like, "So you're a serial killer. What's mind meld? I want to understand that." And he's, I may run into a species one day that needs negative emotions. And he's like, "Oh, but I love killing people." It's like, all right, well, what's mind meld anyway? I have a morbid curiosity. Most of his mind melds are kind of gross, morbid curiosity for Tuvok.
What I really wanted to see here that we didn't get, it felt like a step back in a lot of ways in the way the show shows mind melds, because we got the actual visual kind of if you remember a lot of the episodes with Tuvok, you got to actually see what he was seeing when he went into the mind of the other person.
Yeah, they extrapolated from that, and they had him looking. He was able to see what this guy saw, and they did it sort of point of viewish too. It was very good camera work for the dream sequence.
Yeah,
it's done as,
we didn't get that here.
A dream sequence.
Sure. We didn't get that here.
What we do see is well done, though.
It is, and I'll say I was very distracted by his lapel pin. I was getting kind of hungry just looking at it now.
His con badge looks delicious. That's why I just nuked some pizza.
I like the way he looks at Trip to get the fuck away. The way he just gave Trip a look.
I do mind melds, but it's like has anyone ever been? Has any of our male viewers ever been to a baseball game or football game and tried to pee at halftime? And it's like, usually this is easy, but with 500 people watching and urging me on, suddenly it's impossible.
Yeah. You know what? This shot that you're showing here, it's very much like Sarek's mind meld with Kirk. Kind of evicts that feel. Which that is a good mind meld too.
Yeah, I have to give this actor credit. It seems what happened was he studied mind melds, knowing that he had to do one in a convincing manner and really sell it, because we're rolling this one out in a good way for the first time. Last time it was a mind crime. It was an essay of the mind. We're finally going to accept that it's okay. Hey, Ted Clark, it's good to see you.
Your former Spock was
Hello, Rocco the Brave. Good to see you. Is there anyone else who came through that I may have missed? Hello, Dan Crane. Good to see you again. Did you get that? Did you get that chewing tobacco off of your table? Radioactive is here. I think that's everyone who may have come in. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I did say hello to Cal-El. It's great to see everybody here for the Star Trek show. We're about 2/3 of the way done with our episode, and so Val here is what we're saying again, doing one of the best mind melds in Star Trek televised history.
Yeah.
I like this moment as he's feeling the guy's pain and apprehension.
Hey, Mr. House Party.
Applause.
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat.
Thank you so much, Mr. House Party 6, with a very, very, very generous 10 Greenlandian dollars. Applause to you too, my friend. You know what? If everybody wants to spam the Bird of Prey 5 emoji to remember him, he started a lot of his comments with Kapla. And then Mr. House Party 6.
Whoa.
More memberships. We're going to have another member stream. And now joining our channel, courtesy of Mr. House Party 6, are the Tetrarch of Apathy, Laszlo Panaflex. It's been a while, Laszlo. I love that name. Jeremy Briggs, 4981. Sentai Ranger Donnie. Hello, Donnie. Wyatt Hader, 9886. Trusty Apeko, hello. And thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. House Party 6. Welcome aboard, everybody. And I want to also just thank you so much, Mr. House Party 6, for the $10 super chat and for bringing 5 Admiral Teagian subs into the membership. Now we carry the membership. You are a member of the Q Continuum and the head of the Shellyak corporate for that one. Congratulations, sir. Well done. Wow. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We are fighting here to make a difference. And you know what? Because Mr. House Party 6 has given me a moment, let me put something into the chat that I should probably have ready to go at all times. But this is something that will help our case as Star Trek fans. Are you tired of I feel like an endorser here. Are you tired of cut-rate Star Trek that just doesn't get it done? Thoughtless, stupid, self-contradicting dialogue? Oh, that messy Star Trek. Oh, that messy new Trek. How can we make it go away? Will these stains ever come out? Star Trek United is what it takes to get rid of the new Trek odor. Star Trek United for all your Star Trek needs. Guys, take, paste, and tweet out this on behalf of myself and as a tribute to Mr. House Party 6. Tweet this out at Paramount Plus. Fans want hashtag Star Trek United. Tweet it right at them. Keep the volume steady. We need this project to come to life. This is the redemptive Star Trek project of preference for everyone on this panel. This is the best continuation they could do. Yeah. We don't want to see more Deep Space Nine people. We don't want to fucking see Janeway again. We want to know what happened.
We don't want fucking Legacy. We don't want stupid Legacy and Captain 7.
And girlfriend Raffi, first mate. What do you like? Oh, number one. Oh, number one. We don't want any more SNW with everybody's gay. Now Una and La'an are dating.
Yeah. Admiral, I was going to ask you, did the bagpiper stop?
I was going to say it was more effective than I thought yelling at him.
Well, okay.
I really channeled that Italian energy.
Well, because for those of you who just got here, Admiral Teague had a bagpiper that was outside his window. While you went out there, I beamed over to Queens, and I have audio of what really happened when you went out there.
Here we go.
I have a paper whose
We need a banner that says like moments ago, right?
Did you hear the Patton that I threw in? I threw Patton in there.
I didn't hear. What did he say? What was it at the end with Patton?
No, the end was Mike Myers because we have a piper down. But Patton yells "shut up" before the Desert Eagle dumps.
I did hear the "shut up." I thought that was Patton. Shut up. That was fucking awesome. But did you sample the actual Desert Eagle? Was that actual?
I went to a soundboard and I just paid. Yeah, that's what I was doing when I was away. I was putting that together.
Sean is always crafting stuff to improve our channel. And we have yet another very generous super chat from Welshie.
Top work, dude. That was great.
That and killing the background. By the way, like, did you notice like that he did not fuck around after I yelled at him like that?
Well, that's because you dumped the Desert Eagle.
I fucking emptied the clip at the fucking Piper. The Piper has been paid.
Those are not fun things to shoot, by the way.
No, they're not.
I imagine it's not, but we'll
get you to a free part of the country here eventually, Teag, and we'll get you out on a range with one. And ow, that's all.
I fired a weapon once in New England. It was at the Battle of Lexington Concord. But I digress.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm an illogical Vulcan, says RRTNZ. If an accident should befall him, if he is phasered by a security officer, if he's struck by a bolt of lightning, I'll blame the beings in this room, and that I do not forgive. Oh, so but this is like mob crime family mentality. It's like could you imagine that? That's like Sigma Iosha 3. It's like our people had constant war until La Cosa Nostra was introduced. Then the 5 families brought order to our planet. That's why we're taking your ship, motherfucker. And a generous $5 Greenlandian super chat from Radioactive Actual. Paramount Plus, we don't want any fucking Kurtzman A, B, C, or D. Yeah, this is Kurtzman's fault. This should be called Star Trek: The Final Insult. It's the most ridiculous ship, the most ridiculous uniform, the most ridiculous captain. It's by far the worst story to ever bear the name of Star Trek. It's absolutely a disgrace.
Yeah, I saw somebody post on X today. It says, "We hate it because it's a bad show. They love it because we hate it." And it's absolutely true. The only reason these wokers are just jizzing over this is because we're so vocal.
Yeah, they didn't watch it or they'd hate it too.
Yeah. Did you see Greg Gutfeld shouted out Nerdrotic?
I did see Gutfeld shout it out Nerdrotic, and the only thing I would say that it happened after the event had ended, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was no pile on to get that to happen. That happened because people wanted to make that statement.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is he got 30,000 concurrents, and Star Trek had 1,300. Sean, what's it like? Why don't you tell the people over at Star Trek what it's like to broadcast to 1,300 people, since you have a lot more experience? Well, this is a big crowd for them, Sean. But do you have any advice for them when handling that massive amount of people for an entire network fucking franchise that used to have movies that broadcasting on the same level that you do as a pundit? Do you have any tips for them, Sean? Go ahead.
Don't suck. Just don't suck. Just don't suck.
That ship has gone to warp.
I hadn't thought of that. Like, little me has been live to more people than that show had. That's crazy.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, granted, it wasn't my show, but I mean, like, I was on that panel at a time where it has more people than peaked on that thing.
You're my second favorite person on that show. That's all that counts.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I watch for you and DC. But yeah, you know what? Absolutely great mind meld here. And the failure of Star Trek, the failure of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Even if we're wrong, it was 13,000. didn't you guys have 17,000 for the Disney breaking news? So like, still not in Doomcock's territory. And like for Friday Night Tights, we've seen 70,000 concurrents. So nice fucking franchise. Yeah, well, I mean, they linked together 12 pretty big YouTubers, right? I mean, that's a huge. Or is it 20?
Crazy.
Like, there's a lot of fucking. Yeah, they have a lot of verbal pileups because you just have to.
But here's the thing, though. Almost everyone who subbed to Nerdrotic is, I would say 80 to 90% of them are Star Trek fans. And they probably would have watched a good show. You know? That's why I was kind of disagreeing with who did you have on yesterday?
We had on Inside Man.
Inside Man, yeah, because he was saying just a quick diversion. He was saying that we need like a 10-year break from track. No, I don't think so. And the way I would challenge that is for
his mind.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah.
I showed him some pieces of unification and explained it to him. And
yeah.
By the end of it, he was so excited to see unification. I said, "See, I bet you can
that's
save
what
Star Trek in 8 minutes. It just was done."
Yeah, and that's my point, because for a lot of people who say it needs a break, because those are people that love Trek. If an awesome Star Trek show was just released tomorrow, would they not watch it because they said it needs a break? No, they would watch it from word of mouth and just fall in love with it. So no, you don't need a break.
Get the volume of release right. Don't overwhelm us. I think Germanized fantasy that there would be 3 or 4 90-minute Enterprise.
Well, yeah. However, it's done
would be great.
Oh yeah, I don't mean the cadence.
Mess it up with another 10-episode stream, but the cadence could still kill it. No one's gotten streaming right. No one's had a good season 2. No one's ended a series well. Taylor Sheridan came closer than anyone with 1923, and the best thing you could say about that was vaguely unsatisfying, but at least covered all the bases.
They could do a model like that. They could take the model that the Yellowstone franchise has, and they just do in different, one season of a 10-year period or a 20-year period and move on and follow that main story through. That would be cool. Kind of like the game. There was the game Star Trek Legacy, the video game. It starts off in the NX-01 era and ends in TNG era. They're like the main villain. You're chasing them through time. So like Kirk, like Archer, Kirk, Garrett, Picard, Cisco, they all encounter this villain. It was really well done.
A lot more well done than Star Trek Academy, where the villain was so preposterous that the laughter around Pete Rose's grave is still audible. And you had to watch our coverage to understand that one, but if you know, that is literally in every sense of the word inside baseball.
Yeah, but that would be actually cool. I'm sorry to take on this tangent, but that would be cool to follow a story, do a story that gives us like 10 episodes in each era. I would love to see what happened in Rachel Garrett's time period, but they could just do a quick thing. That would be
Rachel
neat.
Garrett we got was horrible in Section 31, but yes, I agree. Yeah. Just really quickly, RRTNZ, our good friend Welshie, with 2 New Zealandic super chat, says, "I'll make an offer so logical you can't refuse." Just the idea that the Vulcan mobsterism, we only run into, like, until New Trek when we have Vulcan drug dealers. We only meet one Vulcan criminal in the entire original continuity that I can think of, and that would be in Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't there a Vulcan outright criminal in Deep Space Nine? And Cybok.
Is Cybok a criminal?
I was going to say, it's hard to say if Cybok's a criminal because he gets you to change your mind and follow him.
Was it a Vulcan that had that teleporting pew pew on that one with Ezri?
Oh, the sniper rifle.
Okay, thank you, Germ. Yeah, I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
You had that, and then you had a quote unquote freedom fighter Vulcan when they first introduced the Maquis.
Yeah. We try to make sure to honor the super chat by shouting the person out, but then we also try to indulge the question a little bit, like, and give it because hey, it's a Star Trek show, it's a Star Trek question. Even if it's just a joke, like what it begs a conversation about like the criminality of Vulcans. It's illogical to lead a violent, give no fucks criminal life. That's like what Romulans do. And that's why we call the people that they call Vulcans and Romulans in New Trek Vulcans. There is absolutely no difference. They act exactly the same. The only thing is that the Vulcans are more emotional and more violent than the Romulans. They've absolutely gotten that super wrong. And thank you, RRTN said. Buddy is wondering if it doesn't need a break. Listen, anyone who thinks it doesn't need a break, anyone who thinks it needs a break is right. Anyone who doesn't think a break would be ideal, like even we who would watch it would say, please don't put the movie out this year. Please don't put the movie out in 2026.
If it's good, I want it as soon as possible.
But what happens if it comes out and then there's more Kurtzman track? We want the Kurtzman track purged and gone. We can survive
okay,
that.
That's the only situation where I would say yes, wait. But
that's why okay, so we have the caveat is prime the pump and just purge out the Kurtzman track. It is too subpar. It is too bad. We need rid of it before you reboot it. But they have control of all this material now, so they don't have to worry about it. It seems there's an obligation to show it, as we went through with
they probably have to have. That's got to be in a contract somewhere where they're obligated to air it.
We're just covering the same ground for 1 minute here, but just to double down on something we introduced before, because we talk about the business of making Star Trek on this show during the week a lot. During the week when I was talking to Istophobos, he finally did. Well, I don't know if he 100% buys it, but he understood the logic of why I think they're getting the kind of money out of CBS that they're getting for these terrible episodes of New Trek. It's because they're so bad. If you lose control of your brand that way, this would destroy any relaunch and any chance of ever making Star Trek money again. What Kurtzman is doing is no less than holding a phaser to the head of our favorite franchise for a prolonged period of time, making stuff so bad that has to be shown. He's like, if I can't kill it and make it into young adult novels and comic books on the way out, I'll make it so you can never use it again, or I'll make myself even richer. And they're like, here's your money, man, because you're never working in this fucking town again. We might not be the most popular studio around, but people saw you cross that strike line. People saw you fuck over a bunch of people's contracts. People saw you get fired from Netflix. People saw you destroy people's careers. Here's your fucking money. Get the fuck out of our office, you.
He's Ben Finney. He's fucking Ben Finney. So he is.
He spent an inordinately long time as a fucking executive producer. Then he forgot to close the antimatter pile and just turned the fucking entire ship into a super fun site. We had to file it away in our report. Alex Kurtzman is a terrible fucking creator. Okay, we have a side conversation going on. We're a little behind on finishing up this episode, and we've had a huge week, so we want to get you to the end of this one. We'll just finish up with, it has to be said one more time. If there are 6 mind meld sequences better than this, you're going to have to spell them all out for me. I think this is a top 5 mind meld. It's really emotional. Canonically, the first mind meld that isn't an act of actually, this is a crime too to Vulcan. So yet another criminal mind meld, but this is the first benevolent mind meld meant to help and heal the societies. There's no more saving the man. He's going to take this knowledge with him if he dies. And of course, Saval gets this out of his mind, and now we at least they say later this is inadmissible because it's telepathic evidence, and it should be.
Right.
Even now, we don't want it to be, but we know, and we know we can trust Saval. So the people who need to know who are the good guys in our story, we don't have to extrapolate. They know. Oh wow, Mr. House Party 6.
But Teag, how many X's have you had that are so insane that you don't have to name them, but they're so insane that they think you did something that you never really did, and the mind meld is going to incorrectly remember something completely wrong.
I'm thinking about some of
crazy.
First of all, too many to name, right? It was all of them. And it's just thinking about ex-girlfriends. Oh, that was in another lifetime. Mr. House Party 6, thank you so much for the generous $10 super chat. You are indeed a member of the Q Continuum, and you know what? You're really helping out the economy of Greenland. They have like 14 soldiers there now. Arnold, would you please read the press release from POTUS to the Greenlandian Defense Force?
You asshole.
Oh, sir, that was a little bit controversial, but I am so grateful. Thank you so much, Mr. House Party 6. We hope that we're coming through with the entertainment. We're doing our best to hit it out of the park with this one. And here's where we have our sequence with some video. I absolutely have to give you a little piece of video to thank you for that. Otherwise,
The word decent doesn't apply to me.
I think you have earned Bacon Spark.
Insufficient sensor data. Incorrect.
10 fucking grueling hours.
Thank you, Mr. House Party 6. You are a member of the Q Continuum on this show. I almost used incorrect show language from another show.
Okay.
Thank you. I almost called him an executive producer. But that's another that belongs to another YouTuber. But we try to have our own word for everything here, unless something becomes like like just well known, like the way Guardian has taken the internet by storm, and everyone's using the term Guardian now. Anyway, they go to Yoda's place and they have some snake surprise. And this guy's again waxing poetic about the Cyrenite stuff, and he's a little bit hostile, emotional compared to other Vulcans, which doesn't make sense in a Cyrenite sense. But he's got some serious passive aggression going here as we enjoy our meal of Salot snake surprise, or whatever the hell it is. And it's a pretty cool conversation about whether or not you're on the true path unless you're following the Cyrenite way. And then she mentioned she has the Idic, and he's like, she got one from her mother, and he's like, Teles. So obviously he knows about her, and he's like, the daughter of Teles serves aboard a human starship, which means that the Enterprise is just as famous on this ship, on this planet, as Earth, or he personally knows Teles. Which would be, and if he's tapping her every 7 years is still a long time, but Teles, pretty hot. Am I right, guys? Did we lose JT?
Looks like we did.
It looks like it.
It's the he's here. It's just that
it says he's out. It says he's got to go.
Okay. So JT had to go do some super dad stuff. We thank him so much. I missed the super chat. Did it come out of nowhere? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's from 1 minute ago. So he had to go. I'm sorry that I missed that one. But JT, thank you for your contribution. We'll get his grade next time on this episode, which is only part 1. And he was with us for almost the entire episode. As we get this conversation of exposition about maybe this guy knows Teles, or Teles is become famous as a Cyrenite, and we've got a lot of Cyrenites that's starting to sink in. Back on the ship, Robert Foxworthy is confronted with the idea that, we can't put this through court, but we played back the videotape in the human's mind, and Stell is the guy who bought into the device that killed all those people. And instead of saying, like, okay, we've got our killer, Robert Foxworthy is like, you despicable mind assaulter, you despicable freak, you are doing things that are absolutely forbidden. They're against our way. It's not our way. You shouldn't be doing that. You're a fucking idiot. This makes me sick. And Stell just goes, telepathic evidence is not admissible in court. He doesn't care that they know that he did it. And I don't know if Robert Foxworth is playing outrage because the humans are there, or because we're going to fight, or because he is like anti-Cyrenite and also like maybe has a little bit of those who marched beneath the banner of the Raptor in him, which is the story we just heard about Sirach's life. That he confronted the tribe of Romulans, and that the final battle took place on Mount Solea, where Sirach died. Whether he died in battle or later, we don't know. We just know he dies there. But Foxworthy, like, he's emotional here, and it's giving hints of where this story's going. I thought this was a very well constructed and great scene, and I thought that Saval, who we now know has like very good actor status, and this great actor who is this very good actor in general, and very good and great Star Trek actor and Robert Foxworth, who has a degree of respect on line of someone like Richard Crenna. We have a confrontation here, and they have similar energy. We have a confrontation here where he's pretty emotional, especially the most emotion we've ever seen from any Vulcan who wasn't high on Trillium. I thought this was a great performance and a great scene, and we sell the change in the Vulcans here and why they will become more like Cyranites than like Robert Foxworth and his lot of radicals very soon. And this, to me, is where I started to believe that the Vulcan government is deeply out of touch, and perhaps what we have is something like the Vulcan Taliban is running Vulcan, and maybe just no one's listening to them, and they're so tuned out they don't even know. Anyone on this powerful scene? Jump ball.
Sorry, I had to step away, and I didn't say I was sorry. Remind me of the scene real quick.
Okay, in this scene, we have a conversation between Saval, who has done the mind meld, and Stell and the Vulcan.
When they're just like,
and Robert Foxworth, and
he grounds him. He says, "You go to your room, and we'll pull you and talk to you later when your dad gets home."
And this guy says, and Robert Foxworth is not like, we've got our murderer. He's like, you despicable mind criminal. Saval, you're fucking finished. You piece of shit. And this guy's like, telepathic evidence is not admissible in court. So he's just like, he doesn't even give a fuck that they know. Archer's like, I don't care about your justice system. We know who did it. We'll prove it. We'll get our due process, but fuck you. And Robert Foxworth is just, he's emotional. This is beyond baseline of any non-Trillium enhanced Vulcan we've seen on this show. And we've seen Vulcans acting different for a long time on this show. So this Vulcan, much more different than any other one we saw, foreshadowing where he's going. I'm already wondering who's this guy working for. And Saval has lost everything, and he doesn't give a shit. So here's what I'm saying is, maybe what we have, does this scene present, and this is what came to mind, because remember, this is what's going on at the time, and these guys aren't afraid to go current events on this Star Trek. Could it be that most Vulcans like the ideas the Cyranites have? They're marbled through most Vulcans. There's some extreme Cyranites who aren't hiding it, and Saval has now just stepped across the line into that. He's like, okay, I'm not just a quiet Cyranite like 80% of everyone already is. I'm going to get a little mouthy about this because, you know what? Our government is basically the Taliban. You are the Vulcan Taliban. We are going to sing, dance, laugh, play music, and shave. Fuck you. I think that was the statement here. Are we supposed to see now that the Vulcan government is pretty, the high command is pretty illegitimate, and they lie, and they're not good people. They're not good Vulcans. What do you think? And Jerm, this is a jump ball for both of you guys.
I'd say that's pretty accurate, more in a Vulcan way. I don't imagine a lot of singing and dancing in the streets when the high command falls.
No, but like, you know, the thing is, the people of Afghanistan before the Taliban were able to like convince them that they were right and they didn't want air conditioning, prawn, and you know, the internet, and we had to just give up on trying to drag them into the 20th, let alone 21st century, because they like it in the 12th century. He's like, you guys are a bunch of like, you know, but like pre-Sirach kind of, you know, like almost like pre-logical Vulcans, and I don't stand with you, and fuck your job. shove your job up your fucking ass. He doesn't care anymore. He steps, and this has only been hinted at that he's got this level of independence in season 0 for In a Mirror Darkly. So this fulfills his character arc hinted at there. And welcome everyone. Make sure your notifications are on. If we're having a little trouble getting the word out, and also with the AI stuff going on, YouTube not that enthusiastic about telling people about Admiral Teague, but we're towards the end of our episode, and the revelations and implications of one of the most important mind melds that we're going to have, because this will seal the deal. We're headed towards a closer Earth and Vulcan, but it's going to be a bumpy road. We already know, since this is a prequel, these planets are going to become close. They're 17 or 14 light years apart in canon. The Vulcans have been familiar with us for a very long time. And this guy is that Saval has been their ambassador to our planet, and he is now stepping away from the establishment of the High Command, which he's been a part of. And again, Sean, what was your reaction to this scene? And do you think that maybe this feeds the idea that the High Command are like the Taliban? They're really out of step with the people.
Yeah, they're really censorship. They're clamping down. They're afraid. And I think the reason they are is because they probably know that most Vulcans would side with the Serenites. That's why they're so fearful of them, because I think they have to keep them silent, because it's like censoring the news.
It's a logical, dispassionate, but this is pre-Spock like logic. The needs of the many get said for like one of the first times in this show. We won't say in Star Trek, but chronologically. And I guess the reason they use it that way is not to member bury us. It feeds the story. It shows us like she doesn't register surprise so much as she blinks a little and looks like it's something that's been said, but like you don't say that out loud.
Member berries are temporary little key jangles. They're actually taking a concept fully and explaining its origin and exploring it. They're not just
diving
like, hey, look at this. They said the thing that you're used to hearing. No, they explain it. That's why, we've talked about this before, that this show is not memberberry. This is anti-memberberry. This is enhancement.
Yes, they have enhanced their story with great respect. This is still Roddenberry-esque. And honestly, like Gene objected to the movies. I think Gene would approve of this scene. I honestly think he'd be like, yep, it's logical. It makes sense. Amanda Grayson is only about 25 years away. Yup. Yeah. I didn't like what you were doing, but I think you've redeemed yourself well. This is an even better redemption of the differences in their lore than they get with the Klingons. And that one's pretty darn good too. But they are correcting the lore mistakes that have angered fans, and it's really good Star Trek at the same time. It's not like this is an episode that had to happen to fix things, even though it is. This episode to square up Enterprise Vulcans with TOS Vulcans, and it also tells us a great story. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, well, you brought up the Klingon explanation and this explanation, and I do understand. I don't chastise people who do think that the Vulcan transformation was a little too quick. I understand it. I mean, I only nerd-splain it when my explanation is just the nerd-splaining, but that's the only thing, quote unquote, you could criticize about these, is that they're fixing or they're explaining things in a very short amount of time. Yeah. But I have to hand it to the Klingon story though, because it was entertaining and good. It's like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. At least they made a decent story out of it, and it kind of makes sense.
Way back at the beginning when they said, we can get away with this anyway, and rule of cool dictates that we use the Klingons everyone loves and not turn them into snot monster Klingorks. Why don't we down the road, like before we jump into this with both feet, like how are we going to explain this if we last long enough?
Yeah,
like,
and they did the best they could, because
but it doesn't seem like it was done mystery box style. It seems like they had a reasonable idea before they even started the show.
Well, yeah,
Like,
but here's the thing: like, there is no really good way to explain why the Klingons look different between TOS and TNG. You're going to have a crazy story. I think they did the best they could, given that you had about 80 years total between TOS and TNG, or no, even less. No, you have 10 years. You actually only have 10 years between TOS and so we got TOS Klingons, but then we had the motion picture Klingons 10 years or 5 years after Kirk's mission ended. So,
right.
So you're going to end up with a crazy story to explain it.
Yeah,
they did the best they could.
I honestly, I'm going to say that they kind of excelled at this story because the idea that these Cyrenite ideas are out there is not stated directly, but I don't think it's a crazy pickup from the story that like this Cyrenite stuff is being suppressed by the High Command, which has an increasingly tenuous position. On Earth, they're not getting it across. They're not able to have an effective liaison with Earth. They want the other captain to be the captain of the Enterprise. They want different person. They're trying to pull their people off missions. They don't want them to try to save their own damn planet from the attack from the Delphic Expanse, which makes no sense. You're never going to stop a mission of fucking vengeance to save your planet. You're never going to stop it. It's like, just wait around and see if they don't. That was never going to fly. So I thought that this was this powerful scene and these two powerful actors and just do a great job, and it stays within the framework of Star Trek. They push the envelope and they stretch the rubber band, but they do not break the envelope, and the rubber band snaps right back into the shape it was supposed to be in. They don't overstretch it and abuse it. They don't push too hard. They're talking about Trek, and we're having our own video-worthy discussion in chat. You guys are. I'm trying. It is actually. I always re-enable the video, the live chat later, so you guys can see that too. If you want to continue the conversations, you're always able to refer back. If we were to just read the super chats, we could have our own. We could have our own show, but that's a different. It's a different kind of show. We try to combine the way the Euros do it, where they don't really read chat much at all, with the way pure American live streaming where it's all chat. It's always going to be tough to find a happy medium, but we can tell a story and interact with you at the same time. It can be done. We see it done all the time. Doomcock has broken it up into sections on PCB. I don't know if that's the way for us to do it. We might be reaching maximum density for reading as we go. I don't know. We'll find out when it happens. And I'd like to be reconsidering this when we hit 5,000. I'm going to table the idea till then. But thank you guys so much for being here and having that great conversation. There's another reason to be here, and that's why they changed your names to handles, because the community is the strength of the independent YouTube creator, and I believe it was an anti-community move to separate friends, the way that Admiral Naki does separate families. By the way, having watched that episode twice, there's something that I didn't mention. Seeing as how that kid's mother was She-Hulk, it was okay to take the kid away. She did need to go do a little time and be re-educated. Anyone disagree? So saying, oh, she's feeling guilty over nothing. I love Smallville. You know what was great? There was one episode of Smallville where Perry White was in it, and Perry White was played by Mr. McGee from the DC Hulk show from the 70s. It was great to see him again. It was such an appropriate role for that guy. So we're stuck in this cave. The firestorm goes down again outside. Things get pretty wild. This guy gets hit by a bolt of the desert firestorm electricity. He's all burned up like Spock was in the warp chamber. And also, we've seen other burn makeup like this in Star Trek. It's always very effective. It's very good. It looks moist and gross. And he just grabs Archer and mind melds with him. He's like, ugh. And so now Archer knows a few more things about the Vulcans. Saval talks to Mr. Tucker, and he's like, You are from the south of your country. You know much about the kind of forces of prejudice. I'm just kidding, guys. He's like, listen, Southern man, they just took my job, but like, just like you know that it's wrong to be against people who have like violent beliefs of their own, and to be against people, having self-expression and basically having a government that's like the Vulcan Taliban, no laughing, drinking, shaving, or having fun. Like we want to like mind meld. We want to explore our volcanism. We're Vulcanists. Like, we don't care that the high command is out of step. And if I've lost my job with this illegitimate government, I just finally realized, that I've wasted maybe a little of my life. The only good thing I did was smooth over relationships between Earth and Vulcan. And now we've got our own Vulcan Prime that's giving us problems. To which I say, Vulcan Prime forever. But I like the conversation between Trip and Saval, and we've seen how very far Connor Trenier has come. He was always a pretty good actor, but now, like, he's got this character down pat. I thought it was great. To Paul, she feels pretty bad for Arik, who has been destroyed by the Vulcan fire. Then she talks to Archer, who's feeling it. And does she mind with him here, or is she going to hold off on that one? He knows where the Sirenites are now, though, because that's the information he's been given. He's like, we have to leave. We have to go now. The storm's over. Let's leave. And so they split, and she's like, okay, it's this way. He's like, no, we're going this way. And she's like, you're not a Vulcan. You don't know the area. You don't have the use of your technology here because it's like the Forbidden Zone from Planet of the Apes, and it might have been filmed in the same area. It looks exactly the same. And he's like, no, this is where the Sirenites are. And so he takes T'Pol with him, and we eventually do discover our Sirenites.
One part about that I didn't like is technology is not supposed to work in that area, so why the hologram?
As much as I agree, you would have to figure maybe the hologram is simple enough for them if they were able to make a hardwired hologram that was shielded from the magnetism and radiation. I don't know. It was a simple enough program. Like projecting a hologram within a given space, maybe the storm should have broken it up. I don't know. You're right. That is a bit of a plot hole. But it seems to be, I think Buddy's agreeing with us that the guys in charge have become like the Taliban, and the people want to sing, dance, laugh, and listen to music, and they're able to do it because the high command doesn't have as much power as they think. But they can destroy the Earth embassy, and they can mess up relations with Earth. Because as far as the non-Serenite Vulcans go, these emotional humans are, this is having a blowback onto the Vulcan society. It's bleeding over, which was a discussion we had early on in the series. Like we had said, like, what's going on Vulcan? Are there people on Vulcan who are embracing this? And I bet you there's some beatnik humans who are getting into the Vulcan mythology too, the Vulcan mysticism back on Earth. But I thought this was a pretty good episode. But I realize now, did I read the Vulcan? I did not read. Is this Vulcan or is this Klingon? I don't know. Masav Manang Echachu Nalbeal Mach Wavaku at the Tetrarch of Apathy. So I have delivered that message as best I could. I have been trying to figure out how to say it by looking at the Vulcan pronunciation guide I found online. I did my best. Maybe it's that looks like Vulcan to me. Anybody? I'm sorry, the Klingon to me. Anyone?
Sounds like Vulcan. Close to what he said when he was transferring to Archer.
So it's GPS coordinates in Vulcan. Mr.
I think it says that he's a prince.
It might say that. That would make sense too.
That's what Yogurt thought.
Yeah.
Mr. House Party 6 is a prince of a man who is the head of the Q continuum. Now, you are the Corbin Burnson Q now. Like, you tell the other Q what to do. Thank you, sir. And we've got the Smallville conversation is just raging. Maybe one day we do a Smallville episode. People here seem to love it. That seems to be like one of the other favorites. PSG's up there too. So we end with Archer has encountered the Sirenite camp. and I guess they're in their electric storm-proof shelter. And I don't know if they revealed that Talissa's with them, but Talissa's one of them, and we're going to see her soon. Is Talissa there? I forget.
No, not yet.
She's here, but we haven't seen her. Yeah, it's just clearing his throat, says Gavin Blackburn. Hey, Gavin, it's good to see you. Guys, we just reviewed the plot. We did a plot synopsis on this episode. Before we grade it, let's see what you guys think. We won't end the poll, but we'll check the poll. We have 25 votes. Pretty scientific here. A, 40%. B, 52%. 92% of our audience thinks this is extremely high quality Star Trek. And I'm inclined to agree. I think this is one of the top episodes I've watched of Enterprise. And there's no action really in this. There's an electric storm, and there's an act of terror, but there is not fist fighting and phaser fighting and stuff like that going on. So 92% of our audience and 8% gave it a C. No one gave it a DF. Everybody seems to like this one. We'll let the poll go on for a minute and see if anybody sways or changes or it has an effect as we go through our panel. And we'll start with my good friend and usual co-host during the week, Resolute Germ, a mighty YouTuber in his own right. Rez, what do you think of this?
I gave this episode a high B+. Very good setup for the rest of the trilogy. A little lacking on its own. They had the hologram part was a mistake for me. So, but not a big one.
Right.
So they didn't do a lot bad, but they really didn't do a lot. That was the main problem with it.
I know Sean likes numbers. Would 93 be your high B+?
Oh, that's a low A. That's a decent A right there.
I give it 87. Great people different in New York. Go ahead. What? Sure.
87.
Yeah, one below the dangerous number. A high B+. Okay, 87. What can I say? I can't do maths, and I don't know the Bethica, the alphabet, the alpha. Listen, they're written in Hindu. I can't read it. All right, I only speak American. So Germ loved it. Let's go to Sean Carter. Sean, your grade and thoughts on this episode.
Okay, I'm very right there with Germ. I give this an 85. Pretty much for the same reasons. It's not quite A material. There's a few little things wrong with it, and although it's a good story, it's a good Star Trek character story, a Star Trek lore story. There's not a ton of science fiction here. We don't get a morality tale. We don't get cautionary stuff really, other than maybe, keep your mind open about how other people might, if they believe differently than you. There's a little bit of that there, a little bit of social commentary with the authoritarianism and stuff, but it's not really deep sci-fi. So 85, it's definitely a success and one that I enjoy watching.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Now Admiral Teag gets to give his take. Guys, this really was like a high B+, if not an A-. I was enjoying every moment of this episode. I was enjoying it because I know Star Trek. You could enjoy this without knowing Star Trek, though. Even if you went in cold, there was great reintroductions that were not boring to fans. We had a couple of one plot convenience. That was about it. Star Trek as the crime procedural, when it's only done once in a while, is sort of earned. And this one, it's not so much the crime procedural. We've got Star Trek Indiana Jones stuff going on here. It's very compatible. It's going together really well. We're getting a great performance from our lead actor in Scott Bakula. Everyone's performance is great. We have a marquee villain. We have a great story in the form of connective tissue, very creative. And I think the reason why the non-sci-fi action, the non-sci-fi aspect is so it isn't bothering our crew here very much is that at this point we are ready to just hang out with our characters. They don't have to meet a strange new race on a new planet. We've done that a bunch. It was time to maybe go to Vulcan after all these years of Star Trek and see how they got the way they were and sort of put Humpty Dumpty together again in a way that made sense. to have a strong story for the Vulcans, which was enjoyable. And also, I liked the Cyrenite Law, and I thought Saval's performance was just absolutely great. So I too give this a B plus. I will also give it an 87 because I like the number, and I thought that we have part one of the Forge in the can being a fantastic Star Trek story. Now you guys had a moment or two to think about it. I will read the results of the poll again. We got one more vote. Vote now, forever hold your peace, because I'm about to close the poll. What grade would you give Enterprise? The Forge. A, 42%, B, 50%, C, 8%, D, F, 0%. And we got 26 votes. So say we all, I end the poll. And Jerome, do you certify that as legitimate?
It is certified.
That is it, guys. We have certified this episode as A minus, B plus territory. Absolutely top notch Enterprise and very good Star Trek. I don't know if this is one of the top 100 Star Trek episodes, but I'd say this is a top 10 Vulcan exposition episode. It's really interesting.
Yeah. It's a good Vulcan episode. Yeah.
There is so much exposition in here. I was never bored. We're going to take it easy on you and not go 5 hours. We're going to round this out in the next 10 minutes and end it in 3 hours. But we do have time to talk a little bit about, I didn't watch it because I think it's trash. And maybe Thursday we get back together and have another fucking Rage Fest because we'll have 3 by then. There might be something worth saying on Thursday. We don't know yet. Thursday was spontaneous. And I want to thank the Star Trek fire that my audience and my crew had. My crew was not letting that show go by without saying something. Sean was absolutely adamant that we had to go and say something. And I think what happened was, while I was speaking, I missed Mr. House Party 6 gifted 5 more Admiral Team memberships. I am very sorry, my friend. I was deep in thought on Star Trek here. We got Chris Fleming, SHS, Edward Bevington, 9351. Kimberly David Jones has membership now. And also we got one to it's a Trucker Martin is back with us again, and Metallica Man. Enter Sandman, Metallica Man. You're the man, Mr. House Party 6. You are a member of the Q Continuum. And you know what? I think we have to have a very special member stream in honor of Mr. House Party 6 when we find a time that Mr. House Party 6 can be with me. So reach out, tell me when. We want you on here, hanging out, having fun. And you know what? We'll see everyone tomorrow night for Landman, which I'm excited for the conclusion of too. So we know we see a lot of you there for that. So,
is the season getting better, Admiral?
Episode 9 was much better than episode 6, 7, and 8.
So there's a chance of redemption for the second season here. I haven't watched any yet.
The second season is not bad at all. The lowest episode got a B minus. The lowest grade any one outlier pundit gave one was a C plus. It was still always interesting to watch these bad people be bad, but they kind of tried to back away from Ainsley and Angela being far too mean, and they tried to get away from Rebecca's superpower being a bitch. So there was some confusion there in the middle where the show still stayed interesting and fun, but it seemed just a little bit lost and just a little bit unfocused. And then I think we've gotten back to where they already had prepared stuff, or what they were filming on the fly. They were writing very carefully for the end. I have come to believe that Taylor Sheridan does not completely film his final few episodes of the season and gauges how fans go because he has the time and he's just better at ending these streaming things. He actually corrects the damage in real time as people are in my opinion, it was a mistake to react to it, but he did react in real time to the criticism of episode 2, which, by the way, we had 12,000 views and counting for episode 1, 8,000 or so views for episode 2, and it's like 200 or 300 for episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 9 is really surging because people have heard it's gotten better. This is on our show. And so I'm expecting like a real big episode 10. I think that they can get this season can never have its own identity. They fucked up so much and have so many plot holes, but I think they can maintain a more the turbulence is over, and I think that the flight is smoothed out and things will make more sense now. They can't fix the Rube Goldberg machine of how of how Monty used the money. And again, we thank Mr. House Party 6. Thank you, sir, so much. But they did like the season is ending much better than the middle, as well as it began, perhaps. And I would say that it's a worthy bridge to season 3 if season 3 can be good and give us the closure. The problem started after episode 2. Germ, your take on this one?
It's definitely getting back on track the last couple episodes. I'm really excited to see where they go with this final one and how they go forward with season 3.
My prediction is in the final episode, we'll find out that whether or not he can see, Teag has become a very powerful character who will determine everyone's fate because he's got the coolest name of anyone on the show. He's my favorite character just because of that. Or maybe Tommy will open up his own first bed and just sit there with a pocket knife waiting to cure everything that way, because that seems to be his first resort with everything. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much for an amazing show. Jerm, what's going on your channel this week?
4 p.m. tomorrow, we'll have the watch party for Landman. And then on Monday, 5 p.m., we'll be watching Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Awesome. Sean, what's going on with you? You got anything going on? And what's going on with Resurrection Roosters movie this week? You're muted. Did Sean go AFK or Mr. Cotta? Yo, Mr.
Sorry,
Cotta.
I was muted.
There you go. Yeah,
I was
muted.
sorry about that. No, we're going to be doing Real Genius on Wednesday. One of my favorite movies. It's a great, iconic 80s movies without Val Kilmer and Dickless. Really good movie.
Man,
yeah, and before I go, I have a joke that I had pinned that I wanted to read to you guys, and this is something I think Admiral Teague will really like.
Go for it.
It's pretty quick. A guy gets pulled over for speeding, and the officer asked, "What's your name, son?" And the boy replied, David, sir." And the officer looks at him and says, "Oh, do you have a stutter?" And the boy replies, "No, my dad has a stutter, and the guy who filled out my birth certificate is an asshole."
Guys, listen, before we leave you, we talked about this earlier. There's a videotape link here for the very hard to find greatest fight of all time, the Malice at the Palace in 1996 in Auburn, Michigan, outside Detroit, where the Pacers fought the entire Pistons team and the entire arena of fans, and Ron Artest of Queens was just out of his mind. So you can watch that later. And I would just point out that, this would be a more usual time for this show to usually end. And then if you were an hour behind me and you had the synergy to be able to start at 11 o'clock your time, you could just do that and not have to troll my show. Anyone want to speak up about what happened last week before we go and just give any thoughts about the way it was done?
No, I can't think of anything to say.
Can we all just say that we thought it was very low class and we are all pretty insulted?
Yeah.
Jeremy, are you a little indignant that they did that to us?
Just a little bit.
You would think the third time change would show that we were willing to work with you. And what did that do but bring on their third time change? You can have a Star Trek show, you can have a Saturday show, but to keep on doing the same Star Trek we're doing when we're doing it over and over again, no one believes it's a coincidence anymore. You're not going to get us to get angry. We're not going to air you out. And in fact, for the most part, from now on, we're going to ignore the ankle biting. Smaller stations are always going to take aim at us and try to mock us. We're going to show up. This is our promise to you. We are here to entertain you and to try to save Star Trek. It means everything to every member of this panel to get back the kind of good, high-quality Star Trek that we grew up with. So say we all.
So say we all.
Yeah.
We mean this. We care. When I'm cutting that video, when I'm planning this show, when we are thinking about what we're going to do to try to give you the best Star Trek show, we are up against a network trying to destroy Star Trek with a renegade creator. We are up against nonstop terrible Star Trek shows. And I see the General Pattons and the sirs coming. Thank you, guys. I love that you're spamming the emojis. You know what? We're not going to give up. And you know what? If you're going to be a competitor to this show, could you be collegial? Could you be a colleague rather than an antagonistic, purposely antagonistic adversary? You got what you wanted. You made me angry last week. You spent 4 years nonstop mocking me. You know what? I would have 10,000 subscribers right now if not for the mockery and jealousy of the other channel. You know, for 4 years, all you've done is up the vitriol. Your show is flatlined and your style is exactly the same. This show continues to evolve. We have the perfect mix of hosts. And for the most part, on this particular Star Trek show, the only guest we have on is Mark D with a C because he has a relationship with our audience. This show is done with loving respect for Star Trek to make not so much evergreen content, but the most worthy and unique approach that we can give to Star Trek. And this will start to pay off even more when we get to TOS, where every single thing that can be said has been said in 60 years of analysis. We're the first people to start doing this chronologically, starting with Enterprise. It was a daring approach that was mocked. Saving Star Trek was mocked. Star Trek was dead, they said to me. Well, how's Star Trek doing after 8 minutes of unification? If the Star Trek movie starts with unification and then like an intermission music piece that's inspiring and just a starfield, people will be showing up early to see unification and they will be absolutely excited for Star Trek after that. We have seen through the unification special that it only takes 8 quality minutes without any stupid dialogue to get everyone right back where they need to be. And we don't need people dividing the fans, attacking the fans, and mocking the loudest, consistent pro-Star Trek United, anti-New Trek voice out there. You find someone else who's showed 40,000 to 50,000 people the terrible quality of new Star Trek firsthand, and you show me an equal to myself. Okay, I have gone out there and we have taken the analytical hits and we have done everything we can and we have stayed on this horrible new Trek. That shit's hard to watch, guys. We provided you with an interesting and humorous broadcast because we watched the most horrible show ever. It's about saving Star Trek. It's about getting the real Star Trek back. And if we can't save it, we'll goddamn well keep the memory alive. I love all of you and I love Star Trek and we're united in that. If the next Star Trek project is called Star Trek United, it will be the best named Star Trek project ever because we've been divided too long. And I am a uniter, not a divider. Let those who would divide us get into their ships with the bird of prey painted on the belly and fly away with their singularity drive to Remus, where they can hang out with Tom Holland and talk about quality movies like Star Trek Indigestion. That piece of shit. But we love you all, and that's as far as I'll go on the rant. And if you notice, I really don't name names, although, you know, I'm going to do something I don't do. I'm going to introduce a nickname into the ether. Sean, what do you think? I'm from Queens. Do I have a right to introduce nicknames into the ether?
Sure.
You know what? Lion Scotty and Low Energy Jill can do anything they want, but their show will never be as good as ours. I love you all.